day to go to a 10-hour shift.
Aggressive throughout the night. The second night, a very aggressive, I say this, people probably don't like this language, but peeling the skin off Hillary Clinton. 2 nights in a row, very aggressive attacks. One of the Republicans who's not here, Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, who had a confrontation with Trump when Trump visited on Capitol Hill. He thinks they're going too far. He tweeted this out last night. At Hillary Clinton now belongs in prison. Come on, we can make the case that she shouldn't be elected without jumping the shark. But the lock her up has been the refrain that keeps spontaneously coming up from the floor.
Yeah, that's where the base is. And I think the best thing that Trump has going for him is that the Republican voters are determined to stop Hillary Clinton. I often think about what this election would be like, and what this convention would be like, if Democrats had nominated a sort of barely known younger senator, Michael Bennet or Tim Kaine. You know, could they have sort of summoned that rage that you saw last night with that chant of "Lock her up"? It would be a sort of striking question. I think that's probably what keeps this race close going to the fall, John, is the fact that she is so polarizing and that there are so many conservatives out there who, despite the time, walking in the curtain and pulling lever for Hillary Rodham Clinton.
I think I want to stop you for 1 second because we have some breaking news right now. We talked to you at the top of the show about Donald Trump tweeting on his way here about Melania Trump's speech the other night and the whole plagiarism controversy. The Trump campaign said there was nothing to see, no plagiarism happened, but Maeve Reston now joins us. It turns out the campaign, Maeve, has a little different story today.
Right. So, John, the campaign is finally coming out and really taking full charge of this situation, which has been going on for 48 hours. They are identifying the person who they said helped Melania with the speech and are putting forward and are saying that she offered her resignation this morning. This is MacGyver, who helped Donald Trump write a number of his books. She was someone that her resignation is just coming now, and obviously this will be a way in which the Trump campaign thinks that they can move past this controversy, shift the spotlight off of Melania and the chaos in the campaign, and move on to the rest of the speakers this week.
Maeve Reston with the breaking news for us. Thank you, Maeve. Let's come back to the panel. So we'll see what the statement looks like. And we'll see if the word plagiarism in it when I get it in my hand. But they're acknowledging something wrong happened, or somebody in the campaign is offering their resignation for this. Donald Trump saying, no, you don't have to go. How does it change things?
Well, the thing is that this is something that should have happened 24 hours ago. This is coming one day too late. This controversy has already blown up, and I think that obviously said a lot about just the disorganization and the lack of organization within the Trump campaign. And I think it's interesting that Maeve used the words move on. The campaign wants to move on from this controversy. That all depends on whether or not Donald Trump wants to move on. We saw an hour or so ago that he put out 2 tweets sort of extending this controversy, and I don't know that he is done talking about this despite what his campaign wants.
Hold on 1 second, John. I just want to go back to Maeve Reston because it's a key point here. As they disclose this, Maeve, and as they say, this Miss MacGyver offered her resignation because she was involved in the speech, and Donald Trump said no. What else does the statement say about what the campaign concludes happens? Does it say, yes, we plagiarized, or at least admit something of that effect?
So we are literally getting this right at this moment, and it is actually a speech, it is actually a statement by Meredith MacGyver that I will read to you in full. She says that she's an in-house staffer at the Trump Organization, a longtime friend and admirer. In working with Melania Trump on her recent First Lady speech, we discussed many people who inspired her and messages she wanted to share with the American people. A person she has always liked is Michelle Obama. Over the phone, she read me some passages from Mrs. Obama's speech as examples. I wrote them down and later included some of the phrasing in the draft that ultimately became the final speech. I did not check Mrs. Obama's speeches. This was my mistake, and I feel terrible for the chaos I have caused Melania and the Trumps, as well as Mrs. Obama. No harm was meant. Yesterday, she says, I offered my resignation to Mr. Trump and the Trump family, but they rejected it. Mr. Trump told me that people make innocent mistakes and that we learn and grow from these experiences. I asked to put this statement out because I did not like seeing the way this was distracting from Mr. Trump's historic campaign for president and Melania's beautiful message and presentation. I apologize for the confusion and hysteria my mistake has caused. Today, more than ever, I am honored to work for such a great family, and I personally admire the way that Mr. Trump has handled this situation, and I'm grateful for his understanding. So no, the word plagiarism is not in that statement, but what she is saying is that Melania read her passages from Michelle Obama's speech over the phone. She wrote them down, and then they got incorporated into the speech, and they are casting this as an innocent mistake by someone who is clearly going to stay with the Trump organization. John?
Maeve Reston with the breaking news. Thanks for going through that in context. It's a fascinating statement because, deliberate or not, when you plagiarize, it's plagiarism. And we'll take Ms. MacIver at her word that it happened in an innocent way. It is interesting. I should note, she says she works for the Trump organization. That is not the Trump campaign, but there's some back and forth between the two. People in the organization who have been with Mr. Trump for a long time, his loyal aides, and we should stress loyalty is a good thing, have helped out in the campaign here. Your head went back a little bit, and mine at the same point, where in Ms. MacIver's statement, she says that Melania told her she wanted to incorporate the views of people she admires, including Michelle Obama. Now, that is neither here nor there when it comes to the issue of plagiarism, but at a Republican convention, to have the possible future First Lady of the United States saying among the people she admires is Michelle Obama, I mean, this is a place where, you're not supposed to hug the president if he comes to give you hurricane relief or something like that. Does that matter?
Yeah, the Trumps just admire the Obamas so darn much that this is, I mean, it's both implausible and can possibly tick some people off. But here's the thing about it, the timing of this. You have this tension between the conventional ways of doing politics and the way Donald Trump does politics. And you could have, I think there's a world where you could have the best of both worlds. I think here we have the worst of both worlds. The Donald Trump method was to just deny, and go on down this road for, 48 hours. I think if he had kept doing that, tonight something else would have happened and we would have moved on. But here he is stepping on his own convention again.
John, Donald Trump has ensured that 3 of the 4 days of his convention will be engulfed by stories about plagiarism from his wife's speech. That's astonishing what was happening at this convention. Secondly,
so let me jump in on what you're saying. So he knows that. Donald Trump's a smart man. He may operate outside of the rules. He happens to be the Republican nominee for president. And go back 6 months, and a lot of us were saying, come on, there's no way he can pull this off. It's the ideological party. They're coming out of the Tea Party election. So he's a smart man. So he knows if they stir this up today, the third day is going to be dealt by this, and he did it anyway. What if he's right?
Well, then,
somehow.
Then Democrats are going to have a very tough 4 years, and there's going to be deep and lasting questions about how politics in America has changed. But it's striking. That statement really jarred me, too, because I can tell you that the conservative activists across the street in the arena are no fans of Barack or Michelle Obama. In fact, for a lot of conservatives, Michelle Obama is a fairly polarizing figure. And to praise Michelle Obama the day before Donald Trump becomes the nominee, when so much of the energy that has propelled Donald Trump forward in this nomination stems from conservative contempt for the Obamas, is remarkable.
If you've been in a different place the last few days and you're not sure exactly what we're talking about, let's just go back, if we can, to Monday night. Melania Trump, it was supposed to be the moment of magic on opening night of the convention. A tribute to the man, a tribute to the marriage, but the convention has been stirred up, and the media has been stirred up since because of this.
Barack and I were raised with so many of the same values.
From a young age, my parents impressed the values.
You work hard for what you want in life.
That you work hard for what you want in life.
That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
That was Monday night. It's clear, and there are more passages too. There are a few more passages you could show. It's crystal clear what happened. Now the Trump campaign has released a statement. They have a woman who works in the Trump organization saying, I'm sorry, I offered my resignation. This was inadvertent. It was an innocent mistake. Does it matter, Dan, that the Trump campaign just spent the last 2 days saying nothing happened? You're all crazy in the media. There was, sure, she said she loved her husband. She said they share values. And now they're saying something did happen. And Donald Trump, this woman offered her resignation, and Donald Trump said, no, it was a mistake. Stay with me.
Just what we've seen in the last hour and what we've obviously seen over the last 48 hours, it is such an indication of a campaign that's a bifurcated campaign. I mean, it's conventional and unconventional, and they're at war with one another. I mean, what Donald Trump tweeted out an hour ago compared to this long statement are at odds with one another. And the problem is I don't know what the long-term effect of this is going to be. I mean, this is a campaign with so much going on that this could fade away, obviously. But the issue of every day throwing something into the mix that creates a pursuit of questions that have to be answered when you have, how many media here, John? 5,000, 10,000? All pursuing answers to unanswered questions just keeps this story roiling and does everything that they don't want in terms of the overall message, which one would have to say has been absent for the most part the first 2 nights of the campaign.
And the question is it what they don't want? I mean, is this what Donald Trump wants?
Right.
I think that's the central question.
And you make a key point, because we've talked about this for months here as he's gone through the primaries, and the establishment first said, oh, come on, it's a joke. And then they realized, oh, he's a threat, let's take him out. And then they realized, oh, no, we can't. And now they try to figure out what to do about it, because he is the Republican nominee for president. That is a fact. That is not going to change. Donald Trump will lead the Republican ticket in the fall. One of the questions a lot of Republicans have is he going to be our leader? Is he going to make this about the Republicans? Is he going to worry about the governors and the House and the Senate and coordinate on message and talk about cutting taxes and smaller government? Or is this about the Trumps? That has been a key question.
Don't we know the answer to that at this point? I mean, every indication is he doesn't care about those things. If there is a real message from the Trump campaign about what this election should be about, we haven't really heard it yet, other than we do not want Hillary Clinton as president. Maybe Donald Trump doesn't have enough to say about some of those big issues beyond what we've heard, which are slogans for the most part. He's more comfortable in an environment of chaos, even if it seems like it's bad for him.
You know, Dan put it aptly in a column a few months ago. Trump has basically borrowed the party label, and it's a lease with an option to buy, I guess you could say. And I think after today, a lot of folks are going to hope he doesn't buy it.
But to the point we talked about earlier, Mr. Trump operates differently. He just does, and he thinks stirring up controversial things when normal consultants are aghast. You're like, no, run. That's the place you never go. Donald Trump says, no, I'm happy there. I'm comfortable there. Let's do this. Whether it's Bill Clinton's personal life, whether it's other things, attacks on fellow Republicans. Even as he comes to the convention, he's still airing old grievances against his primary rivals. When tradition is you turn the page and focus on the general election. This morning on CNN's New Day, again, we talked about this at the top of the program. My colleague Chris Cuomo has a pretty contentious conversation with Paul Manafort, who says, why do you, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, why do you keep asking me these questions? Nothing happened, right? Donald Trump tweeting here on his way here, and Donald Trump knows this statement is in the works. When Donald Trump gets on the plane and he's on his way to New York, the day after a loyal member of his organization offers her resignation, and he says no, and she says, can I put out a statement? He knows the statement is coming. And he gets on the plane and he just before tweets, good news is, I hope we can show this, good news is Melania's speech got more publicity than any in the history of politics, especially if you believe all press is good press. That's the last part. He believes, am I wrong? Somebody help me. All press is good press.
No, I completely agree with Dan. I think we know the answer to your question of what is the Donald Trump campaign about? Is it more about Donald Trump or is it about the Republican Party? I think yesterday when Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell got on that stage, if they had a clear message that they were hearing from Donald Trump, that would have been reflected in their speech, but it wasn't. And that's why they rarely mention Donald Trump, as you mentioned, Dan. And that's why they all sort of resort to the only thing that they can resort to, which is Hillary Clinton.
Right. This is day 3 of the convention. This is supposed to be the night Mike Pence introduces himself to the nation.
Oh, yeah.
We all sitting here know Mike Pence. He was a former congressman. Now he's the governor of Indiana. He's a conservative. A lot of conservatives in that convention hall who have doubts about Donald Trump are happy with the Mike Pence pick. This is supposed to be his big night, but my colleague Phil Mattingly is inside the hall. And Phil, on a night where we're going to hear from Mike Pence, on a night where we're supposed to hear from more of the Trump children, on a night when we're going to hear from 3 of the men Donald Trump vanquished in the Republican primaries, we are talking again about Melania Trump and plagiarism.
And John, on top of all that, the day after a very positive night for the Trump campaign, where Donald Trump Jr. gave a very well-regarded, well-received speech, and a lot of Republicans wondering if he was going to be running for office someday. I think the interesting thing, John, you pointed out Donald Trump's tweet. I want to tell you, having worked on this story, covered this story, been talking to Trump campaign officials and Republicans kind of across the spectrum over the course of the last 24 hours, all you've been hearing from Trump advisors is move on. This story is nothing. You guys are harping on this for absolutely no reason whatsoever. They were complaining that we were wasting too much time on it, and then Donald Trump tweets about it, and you noted that all press is good press was Donald Trump's message on this, and then you have the staffer come out and essentially acknowledge that not only was this her mistake, but it was in fact plagiarism, something the Trump campaign has been saying repeatedly, over and over, both publicly and privately. I was told from surrogates that a memo was sent out yesterday, essentially hammering this point home that you are going to give not a single inch when it comes to this story. And that, John, as you know well, has been a strategy of the campaigns throughout the course of Donald Trump's campaign. This is really the first time we've seen them take a step back and maybe acknowledge some wrongdoing. It'll be interesting to see the fallout of that going forward. The biggest issue, though, John, remains. This is day 3, following a fairly successful end of day 2, and we're still talking about day 1.
We're still talking about that. Phil, stay with me. I'm wandering a bit into Brian Stelter's territory here, but it's a question of trust, not just for reporters, but for the American people who are making a big question. Should they let Donald Trump, a man who's never held political office, should he be the next commander-in-chief? Should the team he has in the campaign, presumably some of them, would come with him into government? When you have a situation as you was just describing, as we've been talking about earlier, where you talk to campaign aides and they say, you're nuts. The press is making a mountain out of a molehill. There is nothing here. Move on. And then Minutes later, the campaign releases a statement that says, actually, it did happen. And the candidate's tweeting something quite contrary to what his campaign aides are saying. Stop talking about this, move on. The candidate's tweeting, this is great that everybody's talking about this. How do you do your job, I guess, essentially is my question. When somebody tells you something who has a title like campaign chairman or like campaign communications director, when your experience is, the second I report this, the second I share this with the American people, who knows what the candidate's going to do?
Look, it's complicated, and I think that there have been a lot of times over the course of the last 11 or 12 months where reporters have felt very burned by the campaign. I would say this, though, John, a lot of times it's not necessarily a deliberate effort by certain staffers. It's because the campaign, as you're kind of laying out, isn't operating as kind of a monolithic organization. There are different pieces inside the campaign, and there is one very large piece inside the campaign that is generally going to do whatever it is he wants to do. And I think that's where we've run into a lot of problems. And I think that's where they've run into a lot of problems. And when you talk about Republicans on the floor, I talked to one press secretary yesterday who was joking around with me. He's like, oh, this is so great. I'm at the Republican National Convention and my boss gets to be asked about plagiarism all day long. It steps on the message not just of the campaign, but of Republicans across the country, a lot of whom are running in elections themselves. That's kind of the bigger problem here, John.
It's a key point you make about this, not deliberate by some of the campaign staffers, at least in most cases. I covered the Bill Clinton White House. So I understand a lot of staffers who said yes, 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 and then later their governor or then he became president would be no, no, no. Phil Mattingly in the hall. We'll get back to you as developments. Warren, thanks, Phil, for that. Again, let's come back to this in the sense that does it matter? Donald Trump comes to this convention. He has two big missions. One is to unify his party. Again, we talked a little bit about it before we got the breaking news. A lot of people in that hall, they get it. He won fair and square, but they have questions. Is he going to work with us to help with the House and the Senate? Is he really, because of his past as a Democrat, his past as an independent, does he really care about what we care about? Movement, conservatism, state rights, lower taxes. He's got that challenge in the hall. And he has everybody else watching out there at home. Unfavorable ratings off the charts, a deficit with women voters, a deficit with Latino voters, a ditch, you might say, a deficit with African American voters. Questions about, because he's never held elective office, is this guy a commander-in-chief? At a time when people are looking around the world at a coup in Turkey and what happened in Nice, France. Is this in Donald Trump's interest to essentially encourage us, or at least laugh at the fact that we're still talking about this by saying in a tweet, good news, good press is all press is good press, when I always say you have business to do when you come to your convention as the nominee. Is he getting his business done?
I think this controversy doesn't matter for the things that he cares about. The people in the room who already love him and the people who voted for him and the media coverage that he's getting. I genuinely think that's how this works. I mean, the folks who are Trump fans already who will tell me on Twitter all day that suddenly Michelle Obama is the greatest idol one could have. Like, this is what will happen. It does matter to the general public, and it does matter to convincing conservative activists and establishment types to get on board. I'm not sure that that is a priority for him.
No. John, I would say that lots of Americans will think that the media is overplaying this because they think that about a lot of what we do. I mean, they think the priorities of our coverage are way off of what they think is important, and you have to respect that. But to the points you raised, one, what has happened this week in terms of unifying the party? Everything we're seeing is that this party is not particularly more unified, except around the question of Hillary Clinton, than they were when they arrived. And what's been happening this week is giving pause to people who might have been saying we really have to be unified. The second is what is going out from the stage every night to reach out to a broader audience. And on that, you would have to say very little.
Very little, you say, to a broad audience. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue to follow this breaking news story. If you're just joining us, the Trump campaign, after days of saying Melania Trump did nothing wrong, has just released a statement acknowledging inside the campaign that passages from Michelle Obama's speech did make their way, an innocent mistake, they say, into Melania Trump's speech. Donald Trump is on his way here to Cleveland on day 3. This story continues. Our breaking news coverage will continue in just a moment.
CNN's coverage of the Republican National Convention is brought to you by VoteForEnergy.org, a program of the American Petroleum Institute. Log on to learn more. Go to CNNPolitics.com for trending political stories and the latest news on the campaigns.
Hard to believe, but we're leading the world in oil and natural gas production. That means lower energy costs, more growth, more security for Americans. More energy means more opportunity. We just need the right policies to make it happen. I'm Chris, and I'm an energy voter.
Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats. 8 layers of wheat and one that's sweet for the adult and kid in all of us. Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats. Feed your inner kidult.
My son and I used to watch the red carpet shows on TV. Now I'm walking them. Life is unpredictable. Being flake-free isn't, because I have used Head & Shoulders for 20 years. Used regularly, it removes up to 100% of flakes, keeping you protected. Live flake-free for life.
I could tell right away ZipRecruiter was going to make hiring a lot easier.
Go to ZipRecruiter.com and post to over 100 job boards with one click. Then easily select the best candidates from one list. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com.
There's no other time in my life that I will be able to do this again. My dream is to be world champion. Every single day, 6 hours a day. I wouldn't be able to do that. It's just not possible. Uber allows me that flexibility to spend more time on the ice. I am John Sullivan. I'm a world-class speed skater, and I drive with Uber.
USA Today and Time Magazine named the Ring Video Doorbell top gadget. Why? Because with Ring, you're always home. You can see and speak to whoever's at your home from your smartphone. Available at Ring.com.
You both have a perfect driving record.
Until one of you clips a food truck.
Then your rates go through the roof. Perfect.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. And if you do have an accident, our claim centers are available to assist you 24/7. Call 1-844-482-5546 for a free quote today. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Energy, environment.
Some say it's either or. I don't buy it.
We can produce more energy
and protect the environment.
There's been a lot of progress.
Put politics aside.
Work together.
And there's a lot more we can do. I'm Rebecca.
I'm Andy.
Join us and become an energy voter.
These are the faces of arthritis. And when they have pain, they turn to Australian Dream. Here's why they love it.
Australian Dream doesn't burn, and there's no odor.
There's real medicine in there. It's effective pain relief.
I bought it because of the money-back guarantee. I keep buying it because it works.
If you're one of the faces of arthritis, get Australian Dream. It's effective relief for arthritis backed by the empty jar guarantee. Back pain? Try Australian Dream Back Pain Cream. Real medicine, trusted relief.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need cash? You need to know about the New Day 100 Home Loan for Veterans. The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, put cash in the bank, and lower your payments an average of $640 a month. New Day will even pay your appraisal fee, and they'll do everything they possibly can to get you approved. Call them today.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-877-948-6657.
The Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
Welcome back. Our special convention edition of Inside Politics. Breaking news as Donald Trump makes his way here to Cleveland. He is now officially the Republican nominee for president, and his campaign trying to close the door or at least turn the page on a controversy that has dominated Donald Trump's convention. Monday night, his wife Melania spoke to the convention. Shortly after that speech, it turned out she had plagiarized passages from Michelle Obama's speech back to the 2008 convention. The campaign for days said nothing happened. There's nothing here. But now, a top Trump organization aide has offered to resign. Maeve Resson is with us following the breaking news to deliver us more. Maeve, explain just what happened and inside the campaign what they think finally releasing this statement, finally acknowledging something did go wrong, how it will affect things.
Well, just as you said, John, they're clearly trying to get past this controversy after it dominated the news cycle for 48 hours here. We had been talking to many sources yesterday trying to figure out how these passages actually got into Melania's speech, because we knew that she had consulted a number of people. No one was stepping forward yesterday. Just a few minutes ago, we got a statement from someone who worked with Donald Trump on his books, Think Like a Billionaire, Meredith MacGyver. Apparently, Melania spoke to her, asked for her guidance in helping with this speech. And this is the way that she describes how this all went down, as an innocent mistake. And I'm just going to read the statement to you. In working with Melania Trump on her recent First Lady speech, we discussed many people who inspired her and messages she wanted to share with the American people. A person she has always liked is Michelle Obama. Over the phone, she read me some passages from Mrs. Obama's speech as examples. I wrote them down and later included some of the phrasing in the draft that ultimately became the final speech. I did not check Mrs. Obama's speeches. This was my mistake. I feel terrible for the chaos I have caused Melania and the Trumps, as well as to Mrs. Obama. No harm was meant. Yesterday, I offered my resignation to Mr. Trump and the Trump family, but they rejected it. Mr. Trump told me that people make innocent mistakes and that we learn and grow from these experiences. I apologize for the confusion and hysteria my mistake has caused. So obviously this is critically important from the campaign. They want to make it very clear that this was not Melania's error, that this was this staffer's error, but it also shows you how loyal Donald Trump is to the people who have worked for him. And they're looking to move past this controversy now, talk about the big topics that they want the American people focused on this week, and move past what's been a very embarrassing episode for the Trump campaign this week. John?
Maeve Reston for us with the breaking news here in Cleveland as Donald Trump makes his way here. She mentions the loyalty part. Donald Trump made his name in reality television saying, "You're fired." In this case, this longtime employee stays. A couple questions here. Number one, journalism 101 or politics 101. This woman who's now saying this is all my fault worked on a book before. She says she wrote down the passages that Melania Trump read to her, and then they ended up in the speech. Well, I'm sorry, anybody at this table understands that's an inexcusable mistake. But campaign 101. It still means nobody at a high level vetted that speech. After, whether it's, whoever writes this, Peggy Noonan writes this speech for Ronald Reagan, it gets vetted by somebody at the convention.
Yes. Two tracks. The campaign would look at it and the convention organizers would look at it. And by the way, the folks running the convention across the street have done these conventions for decades. They have this thing down minute by minute, and there typically is a very exacting standard for how these speeches are crafted and what goes into them and how it is presented on that stage. And the fact that a Trump organization employee just sort of, jotted down notes, wrote something, and then it was, beamed to millions of people across the world from that stage the other night is perhaps the best illustration yet, John, of just how different the Trump campaign is.
It's just abject political malpractice and failure in the conventional sense of politics. But perhaps not as reality TV and drama, but this is a real problem.
So does this. I thought we would talk about this during this hour, but I also thought we'd spend a lot of time on Mike Pence's introduction to the American people tonight. We won't have time for it. Ted Cruz, a rival gets a speech to the Republican convention, and he has not endorsed the candidate yet. Chris Christie today challenging Ted Cruz, get over it, endorse. We thought we would talk about that. Instead, we're going to talk more about Melania Trump, who, for all the focus on what she said that was borrowed from Michelle Obama, before we finish the conversation, I just want to go back to the speech, because she said something in her speech that I think nailed nailed the Trump campaign.
There will be good times and hard times and unexpected turns. It would not be a Trump contest without excitement and drama.
If you know, sometimes, never have Obama's words been so cheered at a Republican convention, and B, that was perfect.
Well, I guess the next round of this is that the spokespeople will say, I can't believe you guys are still talking about this. You should talk about Hillary's lies, and while they will have a point, the point is moot because you brought this up again.
And if I could quickly just share something, obviously this controversy happened in part because there was not a campaign official delegated to handling Melania's speech, and now we know that maybe there was somebody else outside of the campaign at the Trump organization handling the speech. I was texting with a senior Trump official during the break and asking that line in the statement about Melania admiring and liking Michelle Obama, was there any deliberation about that line and including that line? And this campaign official responded, not to my knowledge. So the fact that this statement apparently wasn't really closely vetted and they decided to keep that line in, I think is kind of remarkable.
So as this close, as this is discussed now and in the next couple of hours until the primetime program tonight, Dan, is it over when the gavel goes down tonight? Does this close the door?
Probably not, but I think that by doing this today, they have at least given themselves the opportunity to have a clean last night of the convention. I mean, John, as you know, the nominee's speech is 80% of how a convention is ultimately judged. If they can do that, then they're fine. But we know there will be another episode of something else coming up.
But odd you say they might get one clean night, and whose night is that?
Donald.
That would be Donald Trump's. Thanks for coming in and rock and rolling with the breaking news coverage. That's it for Inside Politics. Thanks for sharing your time today. We'll see you tonight from the convention hall, hopefully back here same time tomorrow. Our breaking news coverage continues in just a moment with Wolf.
Mary buys a little lamb, one of millions of orders on this company's servers, accessible by thousands of suppliers and employees globally. But with cyber threats on the rise, Mary's data could be under attack. With the help of AT&T and security that senses and mitigates cyber threats, their critical data is safer than ever, giving them the agility to be open and secure. Because no one knows and like AT&T.
What I love about the Tempur-Breeze bed is cool. So you're not too hot, too cold, it's like perfect.
You just get in and it naturally adapts to your body and creates the perfect temperature for you.
Sleep cooler, wake more refreshed. Discover the new Tempur-Breeze.
Approaching Medicare eligibility? You may think you can put off checking out your Medicare options until you're 65. But now is a good time to get the ball rolling. Keep in mind, Medicare only covers about 80% of Part B medical costs. The rest is up to you. That's where AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, come in. Like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, they could help pay some of what Medicare doesn't, saving you in out-of-pocket medical costs. You've learned that taking informed steps along the way really makes a difference later. That's what it means to go long. Call now and request this free decision guide. It's full of information on Medicare and the range of AARP Medicare supplement plans to choose from, based on your needs and budget. All plans like these let you choose any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients, and there are no network restrictions. United Healthcare Insurance Company has over 30 years experience and the commitment to roll along with you, keeping you on course. So call now and discover how an AARP Medicare supplement plan could go long for you. These are the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP, an organization serving the needs of people 50 and over for generations. Plus, 9 out of 10 plan members surveyed say they would recommend their plan to a friend. Remember, Medicare doesn't cover everything. The rest is up to you. Call now, request your free decision guide, and start gathering the information you need to help you keep rolling with confidence. Go long.
I need to be where the pipes are. So I use QuickBooks and run my entire business from the cloud. And I keep an eye on sales and expenses from anywhere, even down here in the dark. I can still see we're having a great month and celebrate accordingly. I run on QuickBooks. That's how I own it.
Hello, I'm Wolf Blitzer. It's 1 p.m. here in Cleveland, wherever you're watching from around the world. Thanks very much for joining us.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We have breaking news this hour. We are learning new details right now about the speechwriter responsible for Melania Trump's convention speech Monday night, which appears to have lines directly lifted from Michelle Obama's 2008 speech. This, as we are just moments away from Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump's arrival here in Cleveland. Looking at live pictures right now. He'll be with his running mate, Governor Mike Pence of Indiana, and his family. We're going to bring that to you live. Stand by for that. Also this hour, Senator Ted Cruz, where he's set to speak here in Cleveland as well any minute now. Looking at live pictures of that. We're going to monitor that. We'll hear what he has to say. Will he actually go ahead and endorse Donald Trump? Here to talk about all of that, the controversy, what today's reaction means. Our CNN national political reporter Maeve Reston. Maeve, on the Melania Trump speech, all of us organization has come forward.
This is from Michelle Obama's to show up in Bologna. The campaign was not offering details. Track it down today ago. Passed on some of his books, Think Like a Billionaire, came forward and she saying that it was an mistake. And I just want to read you some of that statement. MacGyver, who helped Melania. She said, Melania Trump on her First Lady speech, we discussed messages she liked is Michelle Obama. Innocent mistakes, and that we learn and grow from these experiences, and she apologizes for the confusion. So really a remarkable statement. This is someone who has worked for the Trump organization. The campaign clearly hopes that by putting this statement out, they can move past this controversy and get people to focus on the message that they want them to focus on this week here at the convention in Cleveland.
So basically what Meredith MacGyver was saying, when Melania Trump over the phone were reading some excerpts from the speech that Michelle Obama gave back in 2008, she was taking notes. And then later, subsequently, when she looked at those notes, she didn't recall that those were quotes from the current First Lady's speech back in 2008. That's why they showed up in the speech Monday night.
But I mean, what's so remarkable about this is that, you know, in most campaigns, and yes, Trump has an unconventional operation, you would have enough people vetting the speech that they would run the speech through, you know, various programs, making sure that there were no phrases in common with past speeches. And that's what's really interesting about this controversy, is that it shows us that there are still kind of gaping holes in the Trump organization. They are understaffed, and they clearly need more people helping to avoid these kinds of embarrassments.
David Gregory is with us. Ryan Lizza is with us as well. It sounds like it could have just been an innocent mistake. She forgot to mention that these quotes, these actual thoughts, came from Michelle Obama's speech.
You know, Wolf, there's two egregious problems here. One, real sloppiness with the candidate's spouse, who is your first big hitter, your big speaker on the first night of your convention in prime time. And whoever was working on this speech should have been enough of a pro to make sure that Melania Trump was not in this position. That was not done. It's evidence of the fact that this campaign got real big before it was ready and didn't do the basic campaigning as well as it should have. Two, hypocrisy is a really tough thing in politics. Every night of this campaign convention has been attacking Hillary Clinton because she lies. Well, for the past 2 days on CNN, Paul Manafort, who is the campaign strategist, has lied to Chris Cuomo on the air, saying there was no plagiarism, that it's absurd to suggest that that's true, won't even acknowledge what is plain to see, which is that these were words lifted from Michelle Obama's speech in 2008. That's a credibility gap from a team that says you can't trust Hillary Clinton because you can't believe her.
Well, Ryan, you accept that it just simply was inadvertent, it wasn't deliberate, they weren't trying to steal, plagiarize those words. In the communication, the phone call, she wrote it down, and subsequently she forgot that these quotes were coming from Michelle Obama's speech.
Yeah, absolutely. If her resignation letter, which wasn't accepted, is accurate, I totally agree with that. I would say there are three, look, this isn't Watergate, that's the first thing to say, right? But since we're talking about it, I think there are three significant issues. One is the one that David raised, is that Paul Manafort and, by the way, Sean Spicer, the communications director for the RNC, have been out there saying that this was not plagiarism, that these words were similar to Michelle Obama's speech in 2008, but they did not originate with that speech. That has proven to be untrue, and it would be interesting to know if Sean and Manafort knew that when they were saying that, or if they were sort of just sent out there to not tell the truth.
But Manafort said yesterday to Chris Cuomo, he said that she, meaning Melania, does not believe that what she did was plagiarism. They had a conversation. He was involved right at the outset. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a good point, and that's a very important question for Manafort, and undermines his credibility. The second thing is,
I'm sure what Melania believes, it was an inadvertent mistake. It was just a fumble, if you will. And this woman has come forward and said, you know, I really feel awful. I'm sorry. She's worked for the Trump organization for a long time. Donald Trump says, you know, people make mistakes. I'm not going to accept
But I mean, you get flunked out of college courses for stuff like this.
Look, I'm a professor, adjunct professor at Georgetown University. Anytime a student hands in a paper, we have software that paper goes through to find out if there's plagiarism. If there is, that student would be expelled. Look, she's not a student. She is, her history is not giving speeches, speech writing. I think you can show some forgiveness to Melania Trump. The final thing that I would say, though, is give the Trump campaign some credit for the transparency in releasing this letter and explaining what happened. But at the same time, it has now put Melania herself at the center of this. They are now telling us that Melania is the one that read the speech, gave the excerpts to the speechwriter, and in effect should have known once the final draft came back that language was in there.
All right, guys, stand by, because we're also learning right now about a rather unusual vice presidential offer from the Trump camp. That was made to the former rival, the Ohio governor, John Kasich. I want to go to CNN political reporter Sarah Murray, who's got the details. Sarah, what have you just learned?
Well, Wolf, what me and my colleagues have been learning from several sources close to John Kasich is that there was actually a phone conversation between Donald Trump Jr. and John Weaver a while back after Kasich dropped out of the race, in which Don Jr. said they were interested in having Kasich on board for VP, that this would be a prominent role. Kasich could be in charge of domestic policy. Kasich could be in charge of foreign policy. Now, this set off a number of conversations between the two camps and ended up with Donald Trump on the phone, actually, with John Kasich. We're told that they did not directly discuss the VP slot there, but it was more of a discussion about how they have different approaches to things. We saw Kasich elaborate that in a two-path speech he gave while he was running for president, and that was actually sent to Paul Manafort afterwards. At that point, it became very clear that John Kasich was not interested in this position, that it was essentially going to be a non-starter. Now, we know Kasich, of course, has been very critical of Donald Trump, of his campaign. He is not appearing at the convention, and this is all coming out at a time where there is a very nasty feud playing out between the Trump camp as well as the Kasich camp. We saw Paul Manafort earlier this week saying John Kasich is embarrassing his state by not appearing here at the RNC. That obviously has not sat well with Kasich and his allies, and I think that's why you're continuing to see this spat play out very publicly. But it is a very unusual VP offer, and very unusual to hear it all coming out now, Wolf.
It certainly is. All right, Sarah Murray, thanks very much. I want to bring back our panel, David Gregory, Ryan Lizza. David Chalian's with us as well, our CNN political director. Pretty extraordinary bit of information we just learned.
Totally extraordinary. You know, David and I were sitting in these seats this morning and talking about how much this incident had sort of informed us about how the Trump campaign responds to these kinds of things. And we saw that they were trying to just steamroll through it. That's sort of been their approach to other controversies. No more. What is clear about releasing this and getting this letter out there, they came to the understanding that this was consuming their convention, and they wanted to lance that boil.
You mean the allegations of plagiarism?
Yes.
But when I'm talking about this other issue about John Kasich presumably being offered this opportunity to be the vice presidential running mate.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the other thing. Well, but this to me is bad blood between the Trump and the Kasich campaign spilling over into public on the eve of his acceptance speech because both sides still feel really burned by the other and they want to let this stuff out in public.
What's your reaction to this information about John Kasich?
Well, I think
who's not coming here, at least not yet, to this convention, and he's the host governor here in Ohio.
And yet you have Trump, when he accepted the nomination, saying to this gathered crowd here that we're going to win Ohio. Trump has got to win Ohio if he's got a chance of winning the presidency, and he has made an enemy of the governor of the state who won the primary here, and whose political apparatus could be essential to helping Trump if he wanted to use it to those ends.
Absolutely. I mean, one, it does seem like slightly strategic leaking on the part of the Kasich world and sort of stepping on Mike Pence's big night. John Kasich was in Cleveland yesterday. He had an event at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He just didn't go into Trump's convention. And I agree with David. This is the critical state for Trump. It's where Trump's issues actually have some resonance. He needs this state. And look, just politically, if Donald Trump can't figure out a way to make friends with the governor of the state he needs to beat Hillary Clinton, then you just have to question his political sense. I mean, in politics, you make up with people who can politically benefit you and put the bad blood behind them.
Because as we know, David, no Republican, we say this all the time, has ever won the presidency without carrying this state of Ohio.
That is true.
It's critically important.
It's critically important, and it's even more important to Donald Trump because it is this region of the country that is his path. So yes, you are right. No Republican's done it without Ohio. I don't think Donald Trump really has a shot at all at the White House, because if he's not converting Ohio, he's likely not converting Pennsylvania or Michigan or Wisconsin, because so this is really critical for him.
But the polls show it's relatively close, though, in all these so-called Rust Belt states.
Without a doubt, I think that is his best path to 270 electoral votes.
But if he can't do it here, how can you believe he can do it in Pennsylvania, which is such a Democratic state? Well, if I can make this other point, the point about if ultimately you take away from the Trump business about the plagiarism and the like, or other incidents where he has denied the truth of something as a response to some of these controversies, well, maybe you say a lot of these politicians lie. Well, Hillary Clinton lies, or she shades the truth. That's what a lot of voters believe. That's what the polling shows us. But his calling card is to be different, is to be a truth teller, is to level with the American people. And on a small matter here about, a couple of paragraphs in a speech, voters who are not here, it's the voters on television paying attention, are getting an insight to how he might actually govern, how he might handle this kind of scrutiny if he were president of the United States. I think that's instructive.
All right, guys, stand by, because there's a lot more happening here in Cleveland at this Republican National Convention. Also coming up, Donald Trump's family steals the spotlight at the Republican Convention last night. Tonight, his other son, Eric, will take the stage. So what will Eric Trump say? My one-on-one conversation with Eric Trump. That's coming up next.
My experience with USAA is awesome. Homeowners insurance, life insurance, automobile insurance. I spent 20 years active duty. They still refer to me as gunnery sergeant when I call. Being a USAA member because of my service in the military, to pass that on to my kids, something that makes me happy. My name is Roger Zapata and I'm a USAA member for life.
USAA. We know what it means to serve. Get an insurance quote and see why 92% of our members plan to stay for life.
Have you received a visit from the IRS? Are you being audited or have years of unfiled returns? Is your paycheck being garnished or bank accounts frozen? You may qualify for a special program to resolve your tax problem. The accountants, IRS enrolled agents, and tax professionals at Community Tax can help. Community Tax is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and has helped thousands of clients solve their tax problems. To receive a free consultation, call 1-800-444-1026 or visit communitytax.com.
Introducing Turbo 10 from Nutrisystem. Lose up to 10 pounds your first month, guaranteed.
Lose your first 10 pounds fast with Turbo 10 from Nutrisystem.
Your 10 can turn into 20, 30, 50, even more. I'm Marie and I lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem. You'll see results right away. Count, measure, meetings, not with Nutrisystem.
Order your 28-day plan and we'll rush you Turbo 10. Get specially designed meals, plus 1 week of NutriCrush shakes to crush hunger free, and 1 week of Turbo shakes to help bust belly bloat free.
Bye-bye, stubborn belly fat.
Plus, call or go online in the next 2 minutes and get fun, fast, easy, and convenient workouts perfect for beginners and stream to any device from America's top expert in online fitness. Daily Burn, yours free. That's a $75 value free.
Your first 10 pounds? Gone.
Call 888-538-THIN and get Turbo 10 with Daily Burn free.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
And you can tell them to go themselves.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
You got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember.
There's a way to improve your overall health by addressing your dental health. The Clear Choice Way.
My cardiologist said, I don't want you to come back and see me again until you start getting something done about those teeth. That is the foundation of good heart health.
We're doing amazing transformations, and it's not just a smile, which is huge. It changes their person's total outlook. Function is better. Chewing, if you can chew your food, you're going to be able to chew better foods.
Most patients don't realize that their dental challenges can lead to serious health challenges. At Clear Choice, we understand that your dental health impacts your total health.
Feeling good and knowing that you're doing the best for yourself and for your own personal health, that is what's important.
Not just another dental procedure. This is a true life changer. The Clear Choice Way. Call today to schedule your free consultation.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
Right now, we're waiting for the arrival of the Republican presidential nominee, Donald Trump. He's getting ready to arrive here in Cleveland. Look at live pictures. At the same time, the former primary rival, Senator Ted Cruz, he's holding an event here in Cleveland as well to thank delegates for their support. He's going to be speaking later this hour. We'll see if he actually endorses Donald Trump. We'll stand by for that. Martin Savage is over at the Cleveland Science Center, where Trump is expected to arrive momentarily. Sunlen Serfati is at the Ted Cruz event that's here in Cleveland starting right now. Martin, first of all, tell us about today's event there. Who will be there with the new nominee, Donald Trump? No longer presumptive, he is the nominee.
Right, and it's going to be a grand entrance. In fact, Donald Trump is going to make not one, but two landings in Cleveland in the space of just a matter of a few minutes' time. Essentially, his big airplane is going to set down at Burke Lakefront Airport. It's not Cleveland's main airport, it's the small one on the lakefront, but it gives you a fabulous view of the city and him a fabulous backdrop. Then he boards a helicopter, even though he's only about 800 yards away from where we are here, and that helicopter will touch down amidst a real visual fanfare. Expected to greet him, his running mate, Mike Pence, also family members, we're told, and a small gathering of friends here. We can show you what it looks like. There was a practice run that the Trump helicopter made earlier today. Now again, the candidate is not on board. This is the practice run, but there is the very famous now Trump helicopter touching down. Clearly the pilot there nailed it, but again, the candidate not on board. That is a practice run. But we should point out, since that time, it appears the winds may have shifted somewhat, and so the landing zone may be changing here too, just slightly, but it just shows you that you have to be fluid, even with Donald Trump. The cameras are gathered, his supporters are gathered. We're simply watching and waiting.
We'll watch and wait together with you, Martin. Thank you. Sunlen, what are we expecting to hear from Senator Cruz? That's coming up fairly soon. Will it be a preview of his speech before the convention tonight? How far will he go in actually saying, I support Donald Trump?
Well, Wolf, that certainly is a big question, but I have to tell you, quite frankly, this event here today, right now, feels much more like a Ted Cruz campaign event. I want to show you here, they have his former presidential logo spread out on all these signs across the room and on table settings. This is the logo he used during the presidential campaign. This event here today, right now, is to thank delegates across the country that supported his campaign. So I think we'll see Senator Cruz come out and thank them for their support. But certainly tonight, this is a big moment for Ted Cruz. The big question, will he endorse Donald Trump? He has not done that thus far. Aides for the last day have been telling us that he would not endorse Donald Trump, but I just spoke to his former campaign manager, Jeff Rowe, asked him if that would happen, and he said, stay tuned. So it seems that they are going out of their way either to hype the attention of the speech tonight or to not come down definitively one way or the other. But Rowe also telling me that he believes that the Trump campaign will be very pleased by the speech that Ted Cruz delivers tonight. Senator Cruz worked
Would you have voted for the Affordable Care Act?
Yes, because I think you need to start somewhere.
But individual plan premiums increased by almost 10% this year, and some plans could rise by over 20% next year. Nearly 25,000 Nevadans lost their coverage in 2013, and thousands more did in 2015. Even as Nevada suffered, Masto called Obamacare a good law.
Would you have voted for the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
We can't trust her in the Senate. The U.S. Chamber is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Anybody said yes, they'd probably be lying. I mean, I always thought he was going to do well, right? I mean, you look at the people up on the stage, and they're amazingly talented people, but I know that gift that my father has, and he has an amazing gift. And so do I always think he was going to make it to top 3, top 2, maybe? Sure. I mean, I always felt pretty comfortable, but the Republican nomination for a man who's never been in politics, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, he's one of 2 people who could win the presidency of the United States. He's going to win it, but I mean, he's one of 2 people in the driver's seat to win it, and that's it's an incredible thing. It's an incredible story. I think this is going to be studied for years and years and years in college. I mean, just the story of this campaign.
Did you think that was crazy? Did you think it was realistic?
Well, you're taking a little bit of my speech tonight, so yeah. I'm not going to dive too. But no, listen, he's been passionate, right? I mean, you as a son or me as a son can look in your father's eyes and you can see a frustration build. And I've seen this for months and months and months. You look at the $19 trillion. He spends a lot of time talking about it, right? How could our country have $19 trillion worth of debt, right? It's gone up by $10 trillion over the Obama administration. How could that possibly happen? I mean, you look what's happening to our Army. You look what's happening to our education system. We're ranked 30th in the world. I mean, we're America. We should be number 1 in the world. You look at manufacturing. Well, we've lost 1/3 of all manufacturing since 2000. America no longer makes anything. We no longer produce anything. All we do is we buy. You see these trade deals, and the list goes on and on and on. But you know, he's a man who doesn't need to be running for this position. He could live a beautiful life in Florida. You know some of the property so well. He could be taking it easy. He doesn't need the stress, but I mean, he's sitting here watching a country that has given him so much go down the tubes, and he simply couldn't sit by and let that happen.
Because he often, over the years, and I've known him for a long time, he speculated, maybe I'll run for president of the United States. I never took him all that seriously. You heard your dad speculate about that, I'm sure, for a long time. Did you ever really think that was a serious consideration?
But I think we as family played into that, right? I mean, he had an amazing empire. He has an amazing business. And what was he going to do? Take, the tens and tens of thousands of employees that he has around the country and say, you know what, guys, I'm going to take off. I'm going to go run for the presidency. Good luck. No, I mean, he had a fiduciary duty to his business and to his organization. When he contemplating it 4 years ago, I don't think he could have run at that time because we probably weren't prepared. And Don, Ivanka, and I have all been in the business for over 10 years at this point, and we know it better than anybody. We do all the assets. We run all the assets. It really gives him a very clean break to say, listen, I'm going to dedicate my entire life to politics, to winning this race and to fixing a country. And you know what, kids? You take care of the business. I know it will be in great hands because you've never let me down and you've always done a great job. So, I think this was actually almost the timing of where we were as a family really kind of reinforced, his decision to hop into this race.
Because he says if he's president, he will leave the company in effect and hand over all the responsibility to you, your sister, your brother.
Listen, he has immense trust in us. I think that's why that's why I'm speaking tonight. That's why I speak right before the VP. That's why Don spoke last night. I mean, he has immense trust in our family. Ivanka's obviously introducing him, and we love the man. And, I've sat, across the table from him for the last 10 years negotiating incredible deals.
Potty training is always an adventure. It's frustrating, fun, but always messy. So we've teamed up with Lysol to help some of the new parents with tackling the process.
You are not alone, and hopefully our tips will help you get your little one trained.
Tip 1. Be prepared with all of the essentials. Tip 2. This may take a while. Be prepared with your favorite book and their favorite show. Tip 3. Use cereal for target practice. Tip 4. This will get messy. Have your Lysol wipes ready. Tip 5. Stay mobile and have your supplies ready. There are 100 methods to potty train kids, and they all have one thing in common: messes. Keep Lysol wipes in arm's reach, and good luck from Small Fry.
That he gets, and you're a son, you love your dad, and you know your dad, but when you see some of the TV commercials, for example, from the Hillary Clinton campaign and others, what goes through your mind, especially the negative accusations?
Listen, we're all big boys and girls. You have to be. If you're going to step into possibly being a candidate for the president of the United States, you better have thick skin, right? Otherwise, just don't run. I mean, you're going to be out there. You're going to be on the firing line. We're on the firing line because we stand next to him every single day. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. At the same time, when I see a man who has a track record of what he has, right, who's built one of the great real estate empires of the world, has so many of the best assets, and people are taking cheap shots at him. I mean, people who have never done anything in their lives, they've never accomplished anything. They haven't accomplished 1/100th of what he's accomplished in his life. I kind of roll my eyes, and it is disheartening. I mean, a guy like that would be a great leader for this country because he knows how to cut through red tape. He doesn't get bogged down in nonsense. He wouldn't make silly deals for this nation. He can't be bought or sold or bribed. And you look at what's happening in Washington. I mean, you look at the Clinton Foundation, right? I mean, here's somebody who made $141 million between 2007 and 2014, all while being Secretary of State, or the vast majority of that while being Secretary of State. And you're sitting there saying, how can this happen to our nation? I mean, how can that happen? You see people using private email servers for, our national...
Are you going to get into that tonight?
No, not really. I don't think it's my point to get into that in my speech. I touch on charity because charity is something that's immensely personal to my heart, and I have a big charity, and, I do a lot for, the children of St. Jude. I believe in that cause with all of my heart. So I do talk about charity tonight, but you just look at some of the leaders that we have, and you look at some of the decisions, and you look at some of the wars that we've gotten into, and you look at what's happening in Iran and Syria and Libya, and I could go down the list, and you're sitting there saying, what are we doing as a country? All by the way, Wolf, while having an education system that's ranked 30th in the world, as I mentioned before.
Is it true that the children, Ivanka, you, Don, that you guys are increasingly playing a significant role behind the scenes as his senior advisors? And I refer to the issue of Mike Pence being selected as his vice presidential running mate.
Listen, I hate the word advisor. All right, we're his kids, and we're the people he cares about most in the world. And so do we always have a voice at the table? Yeah, 100%. I speak to the man 5 times a day, and so does Ivanka, and so does Don. And so naturally we have that back and forth. I'm not a politician. I know very little about politics on a relative basis, right? I mean, there's many better people to advise on certain things, but I certainly think we kind of understand the world. I think we can give him a unique perspective, and I think we can say things to him that other people, wouldn't necessarily say, because of kind of the
Are the three of you on the same page usually, or is there disagreement?
I think the 4 of us are usually on the same page. I mean,
I'm talking about you and your brother and sister.
Yeah, no, we are, and I think he is as well. I mean, I think we see things the same way, and I think we react to things for the most part the same way, and Yeah, Ivanka, Don, and I. I mean, Don's one of my best friends in the world. Ivanka, I am so immensely close with her. I mean, we have an amazing, amazing family.
And the Mike Pence decision, did you guys push him to go with Mike Pence?
Mike is an amazing guy. And obviously, Newt is an amazing guy, and he's been a friend for a long time. And Chris is an incredible guy. We've known Chris for 15 years. He's an amazing guy.
So why'd you pick Mike Pence? Because he's going to be speaking tonight, as you know.
Yeah, you know, I had dinner with Mike last week. In fact, right before we announced it with my father and obviously Karen, his wife, and we had an amazing dinner. He's an amazingly thoughtful person. He is kind. He's tough.
Hey, this is Pam.
And this is Melissa, and together we're the co-founders of ProjectNursery.com. With some help from Lysol, we decided it's time to give our readers a quick behind-the-scenes peek at our Project Nursery home office, explaining how we help protect our newly mobile little ones from getting hurt, how we help remove germs from the office, and how you can too in your own homes.
So let's talk about a few tips. Tip number 1, think small. This is a whole new world for your little ones, and believe us, they're going to try to explore it. Make sure all sharp corners or edges are properly covered and protected. Think desks, chairs, and scour the floors for fallen staples, erasers, and all other tiny items that may go in. And pick up the smallest items from the ground, and then, of course, try to eat them.
Tip number 2, have those Lysol wipes handy, whether it's strategically positioned near your desk or on the kitchen counter so you can act fast. The office, or even the hallway, can become the cafeteria, so expect crumbs and spills. Make sure you consider low surfaces like baseboards and doorknobs, and wipe down dusty surfaces you normally wouldn't clean. The base of a chair, its wheels, under the desk, you know what I mean.
Tip number 3,
create a safety zone. Whether you're working at your desk or just need to focus on something for even 5 minutes, block the doorway so your kitties can't escape the room. More importantly, use a safety gate to block any staircases that they may be able to access. We also recommend keeping a pack and play near your workspace for when that important phone call comes in or if you need to step away for just a minute. And lastly, whatever area you choose to be your safety zone, make sure you wipe it down so it's clean and disinfected.
These tips make the new challenge of working with a mobile baby that much easier. Thank you, Lysol, for sponsoring this video.
And for more cleaning tips and information, visit Lysol.com.
Tough. People have been very, very unfair. There's so many things that I've seen throughout the entire campaign, which is just so ridiculous, so hurtful in so many ways, and so many things that he's had to fight through. I also think I think maybe Iowa was a little bit of just a low point for me personally, in that we'd put a lot into that state, and it was a state that I think we actually won. You obviously remember some of the things that happened kind of the day of the actual thing, and I think that day also taught us a tremendous amount about politics. It taught us how the game's played. It taught us, the things that are going to happen. So I think it was the best thing that ever happened to us, in that it taught us a tremendous amount. At the same time, it was the first little kind of punch to the gut.
So you're going to go out on the campaign trail after tonight? Are we going to see you out there, you and your siblings, campaigning?
Listen, I've been to every debate. I care about standing next to the man, if nothing else, for emotional support. I'm there for him in any way. I care about him. I love him. He's a tremendous person. He'd be a tremendous leader. I will fight by his side until November because I believe in him. I believe what he'll do for this country is terrific. I believe in the cause. And I also believe in family. He's been by my side every single day of my life. He supported me in everything that I've ever done, and I'm certainly going to be on the stage with him and supporting him, and I'm going to do that tonight when I deliver the speech, and we'll be there, Wolf. We'll be there.
You know your dad well.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there don't know your dad.
Yeah.
What single aspect of him do you know that you want to share with our viewers right now? Something about your dad that we may not know.
Well, I think that the kindness, in the fatherly aspect. I mean, he has been an amazing father to me. He's been an amazing grandfather to Don, Ivanka's children. I mean, he's an incredibly warm person. He's an incredibly kind person. He's an incredibly loyal person. Now, sometimes that doesn't come across in debates because you have to have your guard up. You have to have tremendous backbone. And, hey, make no mistake about it, my father is an incredible fighter. I mean, that's what you have to do. This country, we need a fighter. In business, you have to fight. If you don't fight in business, you get run over in 3 seconds. In New York real estate, you'll get run over in 3 seconds. So, sometimes the persona for him is being a tough, machismo fighter. And that's what he is. And that's, I think, what you'll get as president. At the same time, deep down, I mean, he is an incredibly charitable person. He has been an incredible father. I mean, I could not have... There is no greater father in the world than... And you see that. You see what Tiffany said last night. You see what Don said. You see what I'm going to say tonight. You see what Ivanka will say. You can't script emotion, and you know that. I mean, you could read right through us if we weren't sincere about that. He has been an amazing father to us.
And you've been practicing your speech. You've been rehearsing. I know reading from a teleprompter, and I do it all the time, obviously. It's not that easy, is it?
It's different. You know, most of the time when we go up and we speak, we go up and we wing it, and we have that kind of innate ability to do that. And, you know, it's different. But I think it's going to go amazing tonight. I mean, I really think
If you have CIU or chronic hives without a known cause, join us at Facing CIU to learn more.
One morning I woke up with an itchy toe, and within a week, my entire body was covered in itchy hives.
I'm Dr. Jackie Agrari-Sabet. I'm an allergist, and I treat lots of patients with hives.
I had hives every day for about 6 years.
I was frustrated I couldn't find the cause.
They thought I was allergic to you. Good thing I'm not.
You're not alone. Start watching now to get our inside scoop on CIU.
These are live pictures you're getting. We're going to hear from Ted Cruz very soon. Will he endorse Donald Trump? Will he help unite the party behind the Republican presidential nominee? I'll speak live with two prominent Republicans about that and more. Congressman Adam Kinzinger and Chris Collins. They are both here at the CNN Grill. We'll be right back.
Alarm systems tell us after a break-in has occurred. So I thought, what if you could prevent burglaries before they happen? My invention, the Ring Video Doorbell, does that.
Hello?
I'm doing free tree trimming estimates.
I'm bathing the children right now.
With Ring, you're always home. Ring lets you see and speak with whoever's at your home from anywhere. And with dual power options, you can install Ring in just minutes. Available at ring.com.
You do all this research on the perfect car, then smash it into a tree. Your insurance company raises your rates. Maybe you should have done more research on them.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. Just one of the many features that comes standard with our base policy. Call 1-888-776-2147 for a free quote today. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I would imagine it's especially hot in these roads. Oh, it's horrible.
When I think of TV, I think of the 70s.
This was a sensible career choice, I guess, so cheers to that.
My name is Ray Donovan. I got people coming after my family.
Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned.
Just walk away.
Come back here!
Let's go.
Tell me it's all gonna be better now. Tell me, please.
Ray Donovan, new episodes Sundays at 9 on Showtime, Channel 545. DirecTV customers can now get Showtime and Stars for the price of one. Call now.
You fill up my senses like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses. Come fill me again.
Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
Right now, we're waiting for the arrival of the Republican presidential nominee, Donald Trump, here in Cleveland. Trump will be joined at today's kickoff event, scheduled to begin very soon, by his family and by his running mate, Mike Pence, who will be speaking during night 3 of the Republican convention later tonight. Also, I want to reset our top story this hour. We now have heard from a staff writer in the Trump Organization who says she wrote Melania Trump's convention speech and admits that some parts of that speech came directly from Michelle Obama's 2008 convention speech. She says it was an inadvertent error. Meredith McIver apologized for the mistake, offered her resignation, but Donald Trump refused to accept it, saying people make mistakes. She's been a loyal employee at the Trump Organization. Phil Mattingly is joining us now. He's over at the arena. Phil, what more can you tell us about the speechwriter, her apology, and what happened?
Well, Wolf, you make an interesting point just up top. She is not a campaign official. She's not a campaign advisor. She is a Trump Organization
Would you have voted for the Affordable Care Act?
Yes, because I think you need to start somewhere.
But individual plan premiums increased by almost 10% this year, and some plans could rise by over 20% next year. Nearly 25,000 Nevadans lost their coverage in 2013, and thousands more did in 2015. Even as Nevada suffered, Masto called Obamacare a good law.
Would you have voted for the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
We can't trust her in the Senate. The U.S. Chamber is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Ended up in the final speech. She inadvertently included it. That is her explanation. Well, the big issue here is over the course of the last 24 hours, the Trump campaign publicly has pushed back very hard on any indication that this was plagiarism, despite really what everybody's been reporting. All of those comments now look wrong because of this. Staff are now acknowledging this is really the first Trump campaign apology, admitting wrongdoing. Now they're trying to move on to day 3 of the convention, Wolf.
All right, Phil Mattingly, thanks for that update. The calls for Republicans to unite are growing louder and louder here in Cleveland. Now the Donald nominee of the Republican Party for president, the House Speaker Paul Ryan. He was lukewarm in his initial reaction to Trump, as all of you remember. But at the convention, it's time for the Republican Party to come together.
What do you say that we unify this party at this crucial moment when unity is everything? Let's take our fight to our opponents with better ideas. Let's get on the offensive and let's stay there. Let's compete in every part of America and turn out at the polls like every last vote matters, because it will. Fellow Republicans, what we have begun here, let's see this thing through. Let's win this thing. Let's show America our best and nothing less.
And joining us now, Representative Adam Kinzinger of Illinois and Representative Chris Collins of New York. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us.
To be with
you were the first member of the House to endorse Donald Trump. Yes. You have not endorsed Donald Trump, at least not yet. You just heard what the Speaker said. Are you ready to join the Speaker and say you're going to support Donald Trump?
Well, look, I intend to support Donald Trump, the Republican nominee. I want to hear how the speech goes tomorrow. I mean, there's a few Republicans that have some concerns when it comes to areas of foreign policy and stuff. And, Donald Trump has had a good week and I think a unifying week for the party, and he'll have an opportunity tomorrow to address some of those things. And Mike Pence will tonight. I think the pick of Mike Pence has been pretty positive for Donald all in all.
Are you hearing that? Because there's a whole bunch of Republicans, as you know, Congressman, who are still not even coming here to Cleveland, including the Republican governor of Ohio, John Kasich. He's not even here. It's interesting that the Democratic mayor of Cleveland showed up to welcome the delegates, but the Republican governor of Ohio, he's boycotted this convention.
Well, I can't speak for the governor, but what I will tell you, Wolf, is the party is uniting solidly behind Donald Trump. I think as we leave this convention, we'll have over 90% of Republicans there. Hillary's the great uniter of our party. Never Hillary, the Supreme Court, First, Second, 10th Amendment. There are so many critical issues. This country's at a point we could not survive 4 years, let alone 8 years of a Hillary Clinton presidency. She is uniting our party, and there's nothing wrong with disagreeing on certain issues with anyone and everyone, whether it's your wife or your kids or your best friend. But Hillary Clinton is uniting the party. You're hearing the speeches. They're going after her, as we should. And so I'm very comfortable. This is a great unifying convention.
Congressman Kinzinger, what's your reaction to word now from a speechwriter from the Trump Organization, Meredith McIver, that she inadvertently copied a few paragraphs, a few lines from Michelle Obama's 2008 speech, and it wound up in Melania Trump's speech?
Well, I'll take her word for it. I mean, I think that was such a glaring mistake that I would think it would have to be a legitimate mistake versus an intentional copy. And I have a little concern with the continuing double down of we did nothing wrong, and then okay, yeah, somebody did something wrong. But look, I think people ought to be given leverage for this. I think the campaign should have been very clear at the beginning that this was not intentional. But I think it's time to move on from this. And tonight's going to be a good night for our party. And, we're going to stress the importance, not just of talking about the presidency, but, holding the House that Chris and I serve in, holding the Senate, and ensuring we have good Republicans down ballot in office.
What was your reaction to the whole Melania Trump speech issue?
Well, I think right now it says a lot about Donald Trump's character that he's keeping the speechwriter on, did not run her over with a bus. There is no one more loyal than Donald Trump, and I think we saw that again. I think America would like all of us to be magnanimous and forgiving, and he was. It was truly a mistake, an honest mistake by her, and I think it is time to move on, but I think it says a lot positive about Donald Trump's character.
You're an Iraq War veteran. You say you want to hear more from Donald Trump about national security issues. What specifically would you like him to say in his speech tomorrow night that would reassure you that he's your man for the presidency?
Well, I've got a lot of details, but I don't expect that to come. I think things like, American strength is important, American engagement in the world, not militarily everywhere, but understanding that, we have a purpose in being engaged. I think pushing back against the Russians. I've been concerned with some of the rhetoric about Russia, which I think has been very devastating to Europe and Europe's security. And also, I think maybe talking a little more about ISIS and frankly, the need to destroy them, but then long-term, how you're going to win that fight. This is a generational fight, as much as I hate to say it. It's more than just dropping bombs. It's winning war of ideas.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
We'll see you today. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you at this convention.
Very good.
Adam Kinzinger, Chris Collins.
Thanks.
Appreciate it very much. Still to come, there's one person who seems to be unifying the Republican Party right now, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, Hillary Clinton. We're going to discuss that after the break. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barry Sloan with NewTek, your business solutions company. Does your business need money? Whether you need $10,000 or $10 million, you can count on NewTek, the nation's largest non-bank government-guaranteed lender. NewTek can help your business expand and grow. With a simple phone interview, we can pre-qualify you in just 48 hours. And with rates as low as 6%, you can see why so many businesses turn to NewTek. To see how easy getting a loan can be, contact NewTek, your business solutions company, today.
I may have some good news for you.
Critics everywhere are falling in love with Cafe Society.
The papers are right. It's got real electricity.
It's funny and richly entertaining.
That is fantastic.
Ravishing to behold.
You are amazing.
A total delight from start to finish.
Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living, but the examined one is no bargain.
Cafe Society, rated PG-13.
Life is a comedy written by a sadistic comedy writer.
Additional cities Friday, everywhere July 29th.
2/3 of our planet is covered in it. So why do nearly 800 million people suffer from lack of clean water around the world? That's completely unacceptable to me. And that is why I'm working on a way to solve this global problem. Like here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. By taking the polluted water we already have and providing technologies to filter it back into clean water. My name is Manny, Senior VP of Technology. We are Coke.
It's a golden opportunity to discover what we learn on the track doesn't stay on the track. It just finds more street legal form. For a limited time, get some of the best offers of the year on our complete line of F-Sport performance vehicles at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Some people have told me reverse mortgages sound too good to be true. I mean, you get cash out of your home, there's no monthly payments, and you still own your home. It's got to be a catch, right? Well, there isn't. It's like any other loan, except with a reverse mortgage, the loan's paid back when the last borrower leaves the home. In fact, reverse mortgages are based on a notion that President Reagan signed into law over 25 years ago in order to help seniors remain in their homes. If you're 62 or older and own your own home, you may qualify for a government-insured reverse mortgage loan with AAG that allows you to turn the equity in your home into tax-free cash.
Call 1-800-775-9209 now to receive a new information kit and DVD, personal stories from people like you, and a brand new family guide for children and loved ones, all absolutely free with no obligation.
AAG can help you eliminate monthly mortgage payments, pay off credit card debt, cover medical costs, and give you some real retirement security. Call us today to receive a free information pack with no obligation that contains a helpful 3-part guide and DVD. You'll receive a guide to reverse mortgages and how they work, including the many consumer safeguards that protect you and your home. Also, our important all-new reverse mortgage retirement planner that explains the many ways a reverse mortgage could provide stability and security for your retirement. We then add a guide filled with information for children and loved ones.
Call 1-800-775-9209 now and get your free reverse mortgage information kit.
A reverse mortgage is simply an effective way for folks just like you to get the cash you need to enjoy your retirement.
Call 1-800-775-9209 today and receive our all-new information kit and DVD, all absolutely free with no obligation. Call 1-800-775-9209. That's 1-800-775-9209.
Closed captioning brought to you by Chia, freedom of choice.
Show pride and support with a well-known American icon, Chia Trump and Chia Clinton. Available at Chia.com and Amazon. Also, Chia Sanders and Chia Obama.
Once again, we're standing by Donald Trump, the Republican presidential nominee, getting ready to arrive here in Cleveland. You see it, the left part of your screen. Ted Cruz, he's on the right part of your screen. He's getting ready to speak here. We're going to monitor that, see how he's doing, whether, in fact, he will actually go ahead and endorse Donald Trump. Well, one theme at this Republican convention last night was jobs. Many of the speakers took the opportunity to go after Hillary Clinton, including the National Rifle Association chief lobbyist Chris Cox, who says if elected, Hillary Clinton will abolish the Second Amendment to the Constitution. Listen to this.
In case you're wondering where Hillary Clinton stands, she said, quote, "The Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment." It's that simple. A Hillary Clinton Supreme Court means your right to own a firearm is gone.
CNN last night, we fact-checked Chris Cox's claims, and on a recording leaked last year, Hillary Clinton did say the Supreme Court got it wrong on the Second Amendment. Clinton was referring to a 2008 case which struck down Washington, D.C.'s ban on handguns and overturned a requirement that guns be kept either unloaded or bound by a trigger lock. Hillary Clinton explained the comment, saying she worried the decision would allow future gun safety measures to be overturned. However, Hillary Clinton has never called for the abolishment, I should say, of the Second Amendment. Therefore, CNN rules Chris Cox's claim as false. With us now to discuss this, Chris Cox, you want to react to that? She says she supports the Second Amendment. She believes people should be able to buy guns, but there should be restrictions on the purchase of guns.
Sure, and this fits very neatly into Hillary Clinton's pattern of lying to the American people on issue after issue after issue. In a moment of honesty, and you played you mentioned it, she said that the Supreme Court was wrong on the Second Amendment. It's important for your viewers to know all the Supreme Court said was that you have the right to keep a gun in your home to defend your family, and Hillary Clinton says it was wrong. We know that Justice Ginsburg, both before and after Justice Scalia's death, has said that she looks forward to a future wiser court overturning that decision. Again, if you don't have the right to keep a gun in your home to defend your family, you have no right at all. So Hillary Clinton can say whatever she wants and try to back away from a toxic political position, but we're not going to let her get away with it regardless of what your fact checkers say.
But she says she wants restrictions on gun purchases, background checks. A recent CNN ORC poll, you saw that among Republicans, these are Republicans, agree that 91% favor universal background checks. 88% believe certain people, like those who have committed felonies or suffer from mental health issues, should be prevented from going out there and buying guns.
And if Hillary Clinton wants to have a conversation about keeping guns away from hands of people with mental health problems, violent criminals, she needs to pick up the phone and call President Obama and tell him to tell the Justice Department to start prosecuting criminals in Chicago, to start prosecuting criminals across this country, to encourage the states to put mental health records into the system so they can be denied. Those are things that the National Rifle Association has been working on and calling for decades, but it's Hillary Clinton and Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama who'd rather play politics with the issue than actually get something done.
Chris, stand by for a moment, because Ted Cruz is now speaking. I want to listen to him briefly to see if, in fact, he goes ahead and endorses Donald Trump.
You know, this afternoon is really for one very simple purpose, and it is to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you from the very, very bottom of our hearts. More than anything else, Heidi and I are filled with extraordinary gratitude and thankfulness. Together, the men and women here, we have been part of an amazing journey. And it has been the privilege of our lifetimes to stand with each and every one of you fighting for our country. The men and women gathered here today, you are patriots. You love this country. You love our Constitution. You love our freedom. You love our children. And you believe in tomorrow. You know, this campaign, I believe, was about a lot more than one campaign or one candidate. This was a movement all across this country. You know, I'm reminded over and over again of the inspiration we receive. Some people would ask on the campaign, do you guys get tired? Do you get beaten down by all the nonsense? And the answer I would give over and over again is no. I am inspired, and I'm inspired by each and every one of you. I was inspired by two little children in California, a 4-year-old and 6-year-old, who, when we were out there, they gave me an envelope filled with change. They had held a lemonade stand the weekend before. They said, we want to give everything we made in that lemonade stand to the campaign because this is the future of our country. I'm inspired by a gentleman in North Carolina who sent an email to our campaign. He said, I'm retired. My wife and I, we're on Social Security. He said, every month we send $200 to the campaign. He said, a couple of weeks ago, my wife fell and broke her hip and just had to have surgery, and we can't send our $200 this month. I just wanted to email and say, I'm sorry we don't have the money this month, but we're with you. You know, I'm inspired by a woman in Indiana when Heidi was in Indiana, was visiting at a volunteer
All right, we're going to
center.
continue to monitor Ted Cruz. He's speaking right now here in Cleveland. We'll see how far he goes in saying whether or not he will endorse Donald Trump. Chris Cox is still with us. Very quickly, Donald Trump, as you well know, after the Orlando nightclub shooting, he tweeted this on June 15th. I will be meeting with the NRA, who has endorsed me, about not allowing people on the terrorist watch list or the no-fly list to buy guns. Has he met with the NRA? Because I know you weren't happy with that tweet.
We were fine with the tweet because the truth is Donald Trump's position is the same as the National Rifle Association's. We do not want terrorists to have access to firearms legally or illegally. What we've asked for is when the government keeps a secret list, that there be due process protections for law-abiding Americans who are put on that list.
Have you met with Trump on this issue?
We've had multiple conversations with the campaign, and those conversations will continue.
With the campaign, but not directly with Donald Trump?
I've had conversations with Mr. Trump as well. Again, there's no difference between Mr. Trump's position and the NRA's position. That's that none of us want.
So you're on the
criminals to
same
get
page.
access.
You guys are exactly on the same page.
We're on the same page.
Stand by for a moment. Javier Becerra, the Democratic congressman from California, is with us as well. Let me get it over with Vice President. Is that in the cards still or not happening?
It's somewhere in the cards. We just
for
don't
you,
know which card.
for talking about for you.
That's up
you
to
were
the
vetted,
secretary.
right?
The secretary is looking at a number of people, and I know that she's reducing the list.
But you were on that list.
I know that they were looking at a lot of folks. I could say it, but I don't know exactly how far things have gone.
So, but she'll presumably Friday or Saturday she'll be making her announcement.
I think so.
You don't have any. No, you haven't been told officially who it is.
You want me to whisper it in your ear?
No, you go ahead.
Again, that's really the secretary's
So a lot of people
decision.
are wondering. You're a Democratic congressman. You're active. You're a top-notch Democratic leader in the House of Representatives. You're here in enemy territory in Cleveland at the Republican convention. Tell us how you got here and why you're here.
I took a plane. I did it the way most Americans do, and it's a great city. The people have been great. I hope that Republicans have a good convention because we need to have active parties that are really trying to show America what's the best part of us, and we have to come out with a winner. And so I hope they do well. I've not been completely pleased with what I've heard in the last couple of days. I see more division
When you heard the
than
crowd
unity.
screaming out during Chris Christie's speech last night, "Lock her up," lock her up, talking about Hillary Clinton.
That disturbs me when anyone yells that kind of thing about someone who could be the next president of the United States. I don't mind locking someone up who's committed a crime, who has been adjudicated and is found guilty, but there's no evidence that Secretary Clinton deserves to have people saying lock her up. And I think it's unfortunate. I don't think it's America. It may be this convention, but I don't think it's America.
Well, how far do you think the Democrats will go in Philadelphia next week? Because there's going to be some tough words about Donald Trump.
We'll prosecute based on the facts, and we don't have to turn to anyone other than Donald Trump and his words to prosecute those facts. But I think we'll try to do it in a way that shows that we understand that it's still a campaign, and Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton will probably be the next president, and we want to respect whoever will become the next president. Even though Donald Trump has said some things that I find very offensive, in fact racist, I think it's still important to respect the system, respect the process, because we want everyone, not just in America, but around the world, to respect our president.
So what do you think of the first 2 nights of this convention?
As I said, I think it's been lacking. I hear a lot of talk about uniting, but all the previous Republican presidents and all the previous Republican nominees for president, except Bob Dole, are skipping.
And very quickly, you accept the explanation for how Michelle Obama's words got into Melania Trump's speech?
You know, plagiarism is plagiarism, and it's unfortunate it happened. I'm glad they admitted it to get that off the table.
Well, they said it was an inadvertent error.
Plagiarism is plagiarism, and it's unfortunate. But they're moving on, and I hope they do move on. But admit it. When you make a mistake, admit it.
All right. Javier Becerra, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That's it for me. I'll be back 5 p.m. Eastern in the Situation Room. The news continues next right here on CNN.
Here we go, top of the hour, live in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm Brooke Baldwin. Thank you so much for being with me. We have definitely an exciting hour ahead of you. We're talking planes, helicopters, Donald Trump, Mike Pence, you name it. Day 3, RNC, bring it. Breaking news here, though. Let's get to this. We are learning that the writer of Melania Trump's speech that contained plagiarized passages has revealed herself, and she has offered up an apology. You will hear much, much more about her. But first, as you see, live pictures from the skies. Any moment now, the party is newly minted, no longer presumptive. We can scrap that from the lexicon. The presidential nominee will make an entrance, unlike any other thus far this convention. The first night he walked through smoke to Queens, We Are the Champions. The second he appeared via satellite there at Trump Tower. And minutes from now, Mr. Trump is on board this plane. He will be emerging once he lands here in Cleveland, hopping on a chopper as one does, and then rolls in for this big welcome event with his the man he has chosen to be on the ticket, Mike Pence. Trump is landing at a tiny airport nearby here. In fact, as we watch the approach, he is just about touched down. And you know we're going to stay on this live because it's fun. And we're watching for the man of the hour. Here you go. The Trump plane touching down here in Cleveland. This is a huge, huge day for him because this is the mega day when he will be standing later this evening on the podium here at the Q at the Quicken Loans Arena and introducing to the rest of the world who he has chosen to be on his ticket. We also have live pictures. Once he exits this plane, he will be jumping on a helicopter to then go on and to greet Mike Pence, who will be traveling to the Science Center location via motorcade. And we'll be watching, waiting to see if they speak. We're also told, I believe, guys, get in my ear and tell me, on the left side of your picture, this is where I believe he will be landing. We know some of his adult children. Eric, thank you. Yes, it is. Don Jr. is there. Eric Trump is there. Lots and lots of people waiting for his arrival. And that is where, let's just get straight to Martin Savage. He is watching from that chopper landing location over at the Science Center. Martin, big crowds.
It's a good crowd. The music's blaring. That's a clear sign that we're getting close to something here. We did just see Trump 757 pass right by this position here on final approach into Burke Lakefront Airport there. We should point out, by the way, the distance from where he's landed to where the helicopter will touch down is about 800 yards. So it shouldn't be a long helicopter flight unless he decides to take a couple of laps around the Cleveland skyline, which he could do. But you've already seen we've got family on hand. We've got a crowd of supporters that are on hand. Being said that his running mate is also on hand, Mike Pence. So we've got an eye out for them. But it should be quite an entrance, not just one, but two landings in Cleveland in the span of a few minutes. So we definitely know that Donald Trump is a man that knows how to make an entrance, Brooke.
All right, Marty will stay with you as we'll watch for him to head from one mode of transportation to the next. We can tell you that Mike Pence is in this crowd, I'm told. I believe there he is in the middle of the screen. Governor Mike Pence awaiting Mr. Trump, so we'll stay on this. I have Jim Acosta also standing by somewhere. Jim Acosta, tell me where you are and what you're seeing.
Hi, Brooke, that's right. I'm standing not too far from where Martin is. He has the better view, I would say, than what I have. But this one might get a little bit better here in a few moments. As you just mentioned, Trump's plane came through here just a few moments ago, Trump Force One, as it's called. He's going to chopper over here and then rendezvous with his running mate, Mike Pence. We expect that to happen just behind me. We're waiting to find out whether or not he's going to make a few comments, Donald Trump, that is. It all sort of depends on if they lower the volume of this blaring music that they're playing right now. But Donald Trump is arriving in Cleveland not only as the Republican nominee, Brooke, but to a host of new questions. Obviously, there's this whole issue of whether or not Ted Cruz, the Texas senator, his old rival, will offer up some kind of endorsement tonight. There's also the saga over Melania Trump's speech on Monday night. The Trump campaign has just put out a statement on that, explaining that a speechwriter for the Trump organization was the person responsible for those passages, those plagiarized passages that appeared in Melania Trump's speech. And then, of course, there's a new flare-up in the fight between Donald Trump and John Kasich, the Ohio governor, who is refusing to attend this convention here. So as Melania Trump said the other night, Brooke, it would not be a Trump contest without some drama and excitement. But if he lands here, when he lands here and rendezvous with his running mate, Mike Pence, we'll be wondering if he'll take a couple of those questions. We'll be waiting to see if that happens. But that should all unfold behind us here in just a few moments. And Brooke, I'll just stand out of the way a little bit so you can see this. As we zoom in, you can see Mike Pence and Mrs. Pence moving toward us. They're standing just below First Energy Stadium where the Cleveland Browns play. We're right out in front of the Science Museum here in Cleveland. And behind the Pences, you can see Ivanka Trump, you can see Eric Trump, Tiffany Trump, other members of the Trump family, Donald Trump Jr. And so this is a real moment of unity for these two men, both top and bottom of this Republican ticket. And I think in a way, Brooke, this is a way for Donald Trump and Mike Pence to say, okay, now this is really our convention. You had some speakers on Monday night, you had some speakers on Tuesday night, the Speaker of the House, Chris Christie, and so forth. But tonight, we'll hear the vice presidential running mate. Tomorrow night, we'll hear from Donald Trump. We might even hear from Donald Trump tonight. You know how Donald Trump is. All bets are off. But in just a few moments here, it'll be that image that they're trying to portray, try to get out there of this ticket really coming together in its own here in Cleveland, Brooke.
Yeah, we're going to stay on these pictures. Jim Acosta, thank you so much for the play-by-play. We'll stay on the pictures. I have a mega panel. Just take my word for it. I've got about 8 people standing by on the full political spectrum, but we have to take a moment. Joe Borelli, let me just begin with you. I mean, your man knows how to make an entrance, doesn't he?
I mean, this is big, bold, and beautiful, right? He certainly... And look, we're doing right now what he wants all of us to do. We're all sitting here...
Talk about him.
...with bated breath, waiting for him to emerge from the plane, waiting for him to get on his helicopter, waiting for him to buzz the tower, as we joked around earlier today. So I think this is what Donald Trump wants, and he's getting what he wants. I think it's going to be a great entrance.
Mary Catherine Ham, thoughts, ruminations?
I don't hate on the Donald Trump entrance.
Yeah.
It's the most entertaining part of the campaign for me. And if we can't get Tom Selleck in the Magnum helicopter, which at this point, why not? Then bring us Donald Trump on the helicopter and do a flyby in Cleveland skyline. Here we are.
Here we
2016.
Anne-Marie.
Well, I'm hoping he'll be lowered down, like on a rope. That'll be good. I'm interested for his main trick tonight, which would be drinking a glass of water while Pence speaks. Has anyone heard that that's going to happen?
But that is the issue, right? I mean, we saw the sort of soliloquy over the weekend as they made the big reveal, and then that 60 Minutes interview where Mr. Trump sort of jumped in quite often. What will Trump say tonight? What will Pence say? He's really also got to sell it to, I guess, Tim, sort of his boss, on why he really is the right pick, despite maybe Trump's gut.
Well,
choice.
if he hasn't sold it to him already, it's too late. What he's got to do is sell to the American people that there is message discipline, that there is a sense of where this ticket wants to go, and that there's a governing philosophy. One of the things we haven't heard at all is that there's a philosophy of government.
Yeah.
What we know is that they want Hillary Clinton in jail, but other than that, it's not clear what they want to do. So tonight is a big night for them to set the destination of the ticket.
Well, and I think Pence is actually a decent person to do that job and to make that speech. The question is, will Donald Trump upstage him by calling into another show while this is going on? I mean, that's really
During
the question.
Pat Smith's emotional speech the other night,
Exactly.
right? He called into Fox. Craig Dunn, I know you're not sitting with us, but I don't want to ignore you because you're so important in this conversation as a Republican. Oh, I'm being told no, Craig Dunn. It was a fake out for now. David Catanese, to you. Just talking about the pictures, the plane, the chopper, the entrance.
We spend so much time talking about these speeches and what people say, but the conventions are also about images.
Yeah,
they're about pageantry. And Donald Trump is the king of images and pageantry. And frankly, even with this helicopter/train, plane, automobile entrance, it takes a little bit of the coverage away from the plagiarism controversy that has been dominating cable news all week. So Trump can always overcome a media narrative, I think. And I think even this convention, even though this convention has been rocky for 2 days, maybe it's rocky tonight, I think he can change it with one big speech tomorrow night, because rarely do we remember a Monday or Tuesday night of a convention in history. It's all about Thursday night, and Trump has the ability to completely change the narrative.
I'm glad you brought up the substance, and I think on the speech writing bit, there's been a lot of news on that just in the last hour or so. So Sarah Murray, let me just pivot to you as we stay on these live pictures. Talk to us about this speech writer who's sort of fallen on her sword and how the Trump campaign has responded to her.
Well, it's really interesting, Brooke, because for days the Trump campaign has been saying they're not going to name the people who were involved in this. We've seen Paul Manafort out there saying that Melania didn't crib lines from Michelle Obama's speech, despite the fact that they were word for word in a couple of these places. But today there is a woman, Meredith McIver. She's a speechwriter for the Trump Organization. She's done speeches for them, who came out with a statement. And she essentially said, look, this is my fault. I'm responsible for this. She said she worked with Melania on this speech and that Melania really admires Michelle Obama. And so she said that they spoke over the phone, and I'm going to read a little bit from her statement here. So over the phone, Melania, read me some passages from Mrs. Obama's speech as examples. I wrote them down and later included some of the phrasing in the draft that ultimately became the final speech. I did not check Mrs. Obama's speeches. That was my mistake, and I feel terrible for the chaos I have caused. Now, Brooke, she goes on in this to say that she actually offered to resign from the Trump Organization and that Donald and Melania Trump would not accept that resignation, saying that people make innocent mistakes and they learn from them. So that should cap off this saga. But Brooke, it does make you wonder why they waited until today to clear this up, to put out this statement, why they didn't just do that on Tuesday morning and end this narrative rather than dragging it into day 3 of Donald Trump's convention.
Let me follow up with you in just a second, Sarah Murray, but to Tim, we were talking before the show started. Melania Trump, whose husband is the Republican nominee's role model, is the Democratic First Lady.
Yes, I mean, the best form of flattery, is imitation. That's unbelievable, particularly in a hall which detests the Obamas. But the second thing I'd like to say is that this speechwriter has actually thrown Melania under the bus because she's saying that Melania did the plagiarism. I don't know why people haven't noticed that. She is basically saying, well, Melania Trump gave me these words. I had no idea she plagiarized them. So this is the weirdest statement I could imagine. It's bewildering, actually.
And it's also interesting to me that this is the least offensive thing that was said from the stage yet. It was actually something that I guess Michelle Obama said first. We're not talking about anything else, or not much else that was said from the stage, or from the audience, which has been as much a part of a lot of these speeches as what's been on the stage, is the shouting for Hillary to go to jail and whatnot.
Which trust me, we'll get into over the next 2 hours. I want you to respond to all this, and I want to go back to Sarah.
Look, it all seems tremendously innocent. You have someone, Melania Trump, who's not someone who's well-versed in politics, well-versed in political speeches. It came out that she looked for inspiration from someone who was in this position before. We have someone who was supposed to check it. Obviously, the speechwriter didn't do her job tremendously well. She offered a resignation. I think finally the Trump campaign is doing what the media has asked for. Just someone take responsibility, put it to bed, move on. Pence is tonight, big lineup tonight. Time to go forward.
Okay, I'm watching everyone's sort of reactions, but I do want to stay back to you, Sarah Murray, because not only do we have that bit of news, this is a huge Wednesday, folks. We also have a bit of news on the governor of the state who, when you talk to the Trump campaign, they're calling out the fact that he's a no-show. By the way, you got to win Ohio when you look at history in order to win ultimately in November. Sarah Murray, what is this reporting now between Governor Kasich and Mr. Trump some months ago?
Well, Brooke, there are so many storylines coming into this convention today, and one of the more unusual ones that we're hearing is after John Kasich dropped out of the race, there was apparently a phone call between one of John Kasich's senior advisors and Donald Trump Jr., and we're being told this by sources close to John Kasich, in which Donald Trump Jr. was feeling out John Kasich for VP, saying would he be interested in doing this? He could be in charge of domestic and in charge of foreign policy, so very powerful VP slot. And this set off a number of conversations between the two camps and eventually led to Donald Trump and John Kasich on the phone together, in which John Kasich sort of made it clear that they seem to have very differing approaches to governing and to campaigning. He suggested that Donald Trump might want to read one of his speeches during the campaign, and that's really seems to be where these overtures fizzled. It became very clear that they would not be a good match, that John Kasich was not interested in this. Now, we have not heard an official comment from the Trump campaign on this, but just to give you a little bit of a sense of the background here, Brooke, this is coming at a time, like you said, where relationships between the Kasich camp and the Trump camp are very toxic.
A lot of the campaign spending was to Trump enterprises. You know, like, I mean, I wonder, you know, he is a savvy businessman, as they say.
And that's part of the message of this helicopter as well.
Yeah.
Whatever it costs, it's worth it, because again, we're sitting here, all of us.
If Barack Obama had a helicopter in 2008, he would
be
on
it.
it.
But we would have had to pay for it as taxpayers.
I'm just waiting for him to do a Nixon wave when he gets onto the helicopter.
Yeah.
Because that would be the fine touch.
Well, it's the brand, right? And the brand does read strength to some people, but it's more just the Trump brand. And there, in this story about Kasich, where they said you can handle foreign and domestic policy, Kasich then allegedly said, well, then what would you do? And he said, well, he'd make America great again.
Yes.
That's the brand. That's what he's going to do.
He would fly on Marine One.
He's the official spokesmodel for America. That's what he would be doing. He was the brand ambassador for, which, you know, he does kind of America.
We're not potentially not.
I think you're misunderstanding.
Hey, this is Pam. And this is Melissa, and together we're the co-founders of ProjectNursery.com. With some help from Lysol, we decided it's time to give our readers a quick behind-the-scenes peek at our Project Nursery home office, explaining how we help protect our newly mobile little ones from getting hurt, how we help remove germs from the office, and how you can too in your own homes.
So let's talk about a few tips. Tip number 1, think small. This is a whole new world for your little ones, and believe us, they're going to try to explore it. Make sure all sharp corners or edges are properly covered and protected. Think desks, tables, chairs, and scour the floors for fallen staples, erasers, and all other tiny items that may go unnoticed on the floor. Toddlers tend to zone right in and pick up the smallest items from the ground, and then, of course, try to eat them.
Tip number 2, have those Lysol wipes handy, whether it's strategically positioned near your desk or on the kitchen counter so you can act fast. The office or even the hallway can become the capital.
Let's hear it for the next President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. It is such an honor to join your family, to welcome you to Cleveland. We're excited to hear you address the nation tomorrow night. It's been exciting to hear from your family. More to come tonight. And I'm convinced what begins in Cleveland will end in the White House. Thank you, and God bless you, and welcome to Cleveland.
Thank you very much, Mike. I just want to also congratulate Don and Tiffany, and Eric is going to have his shot tonight, and Eric's going to be great, and Ivanka tomorrow night, and my whole family. And Karen, I want to just, your whole family is an incredible family, and we love having you with us in this endeavor, and hopefully we're going to do an amazing job, and an amazing job for the country, most importantly. So thank you very much. And kids, congratulations. Fantastic job. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We'll go and start working.
For those of you wondering what that theme song that was the theme song from Air Force One with Harrison Ford. Big dramatic entrance. So now here you have the two. This is the big day for Governor Mike Pence. This is the evening prime time where he will be stepping out and speaking in front of millions and millions of people. I have my entire panel here. We've been watching from the airplane to the helicopter to now here on the ground. New York delegation there on the ground to greet them. The entire family, minus Melania Trump. Joe, do you think that was a good move not to have her there, not to sort of do this, brush it off the shoulder and roll on back to Cleveland?
I don't know. Like I said, I think the person who was perhaps implicit in all this, the speechwriter, has come out and said, listen, I'm taking responsibility.
She offered a resignation. Trump said thanks, but no thanks.
The whole campaign's trying to move forward. The focus clearly from what we're seeing right now is on Governor Pence tonight, because that's who he greeted the minute he got off the plane. I would really love to be a fly on the wall in Camp Clinton right now, because I imagine they're sitting around a booth maybe chuckling a little bit. But at heart, I think they're realizing that they can't compete with this. This is very difficult for them to compete with. The amount of coverage that this is getting, the presidential nature of all this. He essentially looks like he came off Air Force One on a helicopter.
Today's Best Western is more rewarding than ever. Get a $50 Best Western gift card when you stay 2 separate times.
On reproductive rights, let's say, and Pence has a strong record that a lot of the crowd here, but it's
Fun of that. We now have another voice. Let me bring Craig Dunn in, Republican chairman, Indiana's 4th Congressional District, Indiana delegate, and a Kasich supporter. Craig Dunn, first I'd love to just have you react to this, mega entrance by Mr. Trump and Governor Pence, but also on Governor Pence, the man, the record, and what he needs to say tonight.
Well, we've got a saying in Indiana when we're talking about a good hunting dog that this dog will hunt. And it's never been truer than with a governor like Mike Pence. He can get the job done. Indiana has proven it time and time again under Mike Pence. We've had a tax cut every year he's been in office. We're leading the Midwest in economic growth. In fact, we have a greater job situation right now in Indiana than ever in our history before. So we're really excited to see Governor Pence help out the Trump team on a national level to bring the great Indiana success story to the people of the United States.
What about, to Anna Marie's point, though, as a Dem on the panel, the fact that, looking at Governor Pence's record and some of his issues, what he said in years past on the far right. Yes, it will play well with the base in a place like Cleveland here this week, but in the next couple of months when you're trying to grab those folks in the middle, may not sit well.
Well, I think if you look at a situation that the United States doesn't all live on the East and West Coast. And there's a lot of people between those two coasts that actually do appreciate family values and the more traditional values that made the Republican Party great. I think Mike Pence is not just going to be some sort of a polarizing person. He wasn't brought on the ticket for that reason. He was brought on the ticket to reassure social conservatives that the Trump ticket was serious about maintaining those social values. Sure, there's going to be people that disagree with Governor Pence on certain issues. I've been one in the past myself. But by and large, you're getting a top quality vice presidential candidate. No matter what you would like to say about Mike Pence, he is a first class individual and family guy. His words is bond, and he brings a sense of humility and of humor to anything he does from a political standpoint. And I think if you judge by the quality of the man, the people of the United States will be very happy with him as their vice president.
All right, Mr. Dunn, stay with me. Let me just also bring in the panel because another big question, Ted Cruz, who really fought it out sort of tooth and nail with Donald Trump up until the end, who really did seem to get under Mr. Trump's skin. I mean, he's been extended this offer to speak prime time. He said, heck yes, thank you very much, I'll take that. We don't know whether or not he will endorse. Mary Catherine, do you think he will?
I think Ted Cruz is always tempted to be a little too cute by half and to want to walk a line. And so I hold out the possibility that he will not actually endorse from the stage and he will do a rousing speech. I think his supporters here still have a bit of a chip on their shoulder about Donald Trump. And I think his tendency is to say, I'm smart enough to walk this line and I can please everybody at the same time. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong.
We know
You're
that
nodding?
the Cruz rally just now, Trump supporters booed when they saw Trump's plane coming in.
Huh.
Ted Cruz is having a rally right now thanking delegates, but he has been working the network of the Republican Party all week.
Is his thought bubble 2020?
They're already looking at 2020. You see a lot of these guys doing it. Tom Cotton, the senator from Arkansas, has hit almost every delegation that's had a big breakfast. Cruz is very active. Scott Walker is active. So these guys have got their both feet in both camps. They want to seem as loyal as they can, but not going whole hog as to be completely tied down to Donald Trump if he goes up in flames in November. And I've had Republicans say to me, look, 2020 is going to be the harder election for Hillary Clinton. Already banking. They won't say it on the record. They'll say they'll wink and they'll say, 2016, fine, we may lose this, but watch her try to get reelected and try to have 16 straight years of Democrat.
I'll actually say I completely agree with this. I think that in some ways that this is an unfortunate situation for Hillary because it presents a...
Potty training is always an adventure. It's frustrating, fun, but always messy. So we've teamed up with Lysol to help some of the new parents with tackling the process.
You are not alone, and hopefully our tips will help you get your little one trained.
Tip 1. Be prepared with all of the essentials. Tip 2. This may take a while. Be prepared with your favorite book and their favorite show. Tip 3. Use cereal for target practice. Tip 4. This will get messy. Have your Lysol wipes ready. Tip 5. Stay mobile and have your supplies ready. There are 100 methods to potty train kids, and they all have one thing in common: messes. Keep Lysol wipes in arm's reach, and good luck from Small Fry.
Home, which is why we've earned over 3,000 5-star Amazon reviews. Like Nick, who writes, Ring is awesome. Easy to set up, easy to use. Available at ring.com.
Getting payments from an annuity can be frustrating. You've got things to do now, things to buy now, bills to pay now. But the money, your annuity money, just trickles in a little at a time. But what if you could get more of your money now? Well, you can. Just call or visit Annuity Action Network to find out how. Considering a reverse mortgage or a loan to get the cash you need? Why pay to use other people's money when you have all your own annuity money just waiting for you? With Annuity Action Network, accessing your annuity money is quick, easy, and hassle-free. They could have cash in your hands in as little as 48 hours. And you can even keep getting annuity payments if you want. Call Annuity Action Network now for a free consultation and get your money now so you can enjoy it now.
Call 1-800-607-0121 or visit our website. That's 1-800-607-0121.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need cash? You need to know about the New Day 100 for veterans. The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, and lower your payments an average of $640 a month. New Day will even pay your appraisal fee, and they'll do everything they possibly can to get you approved. Call them today.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-855-662-4761. It's a new day for veterans who want to refinance.
That's me.
The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, get cash, and lower your payments an average of $640 a month. New Day will even pay for your appraisal.
That's me.
As a vet, you've earned the right to apply for a home loan that's VA guaranteed. For veterans who want to refinance, that can mean a lot.
That's me.
Call New Day USA now at 1-855-662-4761.
How we see, how we look. Great eyewear is all about both. Thoughtful design, precision optics, styles people love. At Zenni.com, we make it all stunningly affordable, so you can see the world the way it's meant to be seen, in perfect focus. Zenni.com, eyewear for everyone.
Every home repair or improvement project should start with a pro you know you can trust. That's why for over 15 years, homeowners have trusted HomeAdvisor to find only the best home pros. It's a totally free service that instantly connects you with top-rated pros who have passed criminal and financial background checks. In fact, HomeAdvisor .com.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
We beat 15 of those candidates.
Detroit is the canary in the coal mine. Detroit was the first city, major city in America, to file for bankruptcy. We're going to show the world that we can do it.
Ain't nobody played on that park in the last 4 years. They put the play in the next year, they closed the school.
And see, like broke down. She couldn't believe how they just abandoned it. We're a hard-working people, but now we've got hard troubles. Nobody's come to save us, so we have to save ourselves.
A clean environment makes a happy child.
We teach our children, you know, they'll have a decent future ahead of them. What keeps me staying here is the people. It's the people that got us still here.
I'm Tom Nardone. I'm the gang leader of the Detroit Mower Gang. The city of Detroit was low on cash, so they were closing 72 parks. Really what it means is they just stopped mowing. I formed a gang, like a biker gang for lawnmowers. Kids don't choose where they're born. Every time I saw an overgrown park, I thought, there's something we can do here. These kids need our help.
I got involved because I wanted to be a plus for society. I want to pay society back for the good life I have.
One lady neighbor told it today, she said it just right. She said, we got to put the neighbor back in neighborhood, and then our problems will be over.
Thanks everybody for coming to the Craftsman Motown Mowdown. The focus of the day is to make sure kids have a place to play.
When Craftsman got involved with the Mower Gang, I thought this is a terrific opportunity for so much positive energy, and we got it.
You like that thing, Mark? Hurt your back? Yeah, that's work. I bet everybody in this gang has Craftsman.
See as a tacit signal that they are looking to 2020 as opposed to trying to rally the party now. You've had boos from Trump supporters, from congressional leaders like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, and for Governor Kasich's name when it was submitted on the floor of the convention. You have this heroic effort from Trump and his allies to try to project this image of a strong and unified party, but Brooke, the reality is just not there yet.
And not only that, you know, you talk about the bad blood that's sort of bubbling right now in Cleveland because apparently they didn't actually, the Trump team didn't go as far as officially vetting Governor Kasich, but there was some, you know, a dossier put together, and to quote this, I guess, Trump campaign, Kasich's vetting read like a trashy novel. So that's what we're hearing now is this, you know, also look at the timing here. This is the Vice President day, this is Mike Pence's day, and this is when all of this is kind of coming out. Joe Borelli, care to respond?
But, you know, I don't think it's surprising that the Trump campaign did have maybe an informal conversation with Team Kasich about being a vice president. I think that was something that was kind of widely reported anyway. As far as Governor Kasich overall, look, despite how he feels, so many polls here in Ohio where he's doing good, if not outright beating Secretary Clinton without spending $1. So, you know, it's follower, get out of the way, Governor Kasich, and I'd say at this point, get out of the way.
I was just going to, you know, Dick Cheney was given that offer in 2000.
Hey, this is Pam, and this is there were the nursery. Some help from Lysol. To give our readers a quick behind the Project Nursery home office, explain our newly from getting hurt, how we help remove germs from the office, and how you can too in your own homes.
So let's talk about a few tips. Tip number 1, think small. This is a whole new world for your little ones, and believe us, they're going to try to explore it. Make sure all sharp corners or edges are properly covered and protected. Think desks, tables, chairs, and scour the floors for fallen staples, erasers, and all other tiny items that may go unnoticed on the floor. Toddlers tend to zone right in and pick up the smallest items from the ground, and then, of course, try to eat them.
Tip number 2, have those Lysol wipes handy, whether it's strategically positioned near your desk or on the kitchen counter so you can act fast. The office, or even the hallway, can become the cafeteria, so expect crumbs and spills. Make sure you consider low surfaces like baseboards and doorknobs, and wipe down dusty surfaces you normally wouldn't clean. The base of a chair, its wheels, under the desk, you know what I mean.
Tip number 3,
create a safety zone. Whether you're working at your desk or just need to focus on something for even 5 minutes, block the doorway so your kitties can't escape the room. More importantly, use the safety gate to block any staircases that they may be able to access. We also recommend keeping a pack and play near your workspace for when that important phone call comes in or if you need to step away for just a minute. And lastly, whatever area you choose to be your safety zone, make sure you wipe it down so it's clean and disinfected.
These tips make the new challenge of working with a mobile baby that much easier. Thank you, Lysol, for sponsoring this video.
And for more cleaning tips and information, visit Lysol.com.
It was striking.
How so?
He never mentioned Donald Trump's name, but he said he was troubled by 3 things that are going on in America: an increase in nationalism, an increase in anti-immigrant policies and rhetoric, and anti-trade rhetoric. Now that is the Donald J. Trump campaign for president. Those are the pillars of the campaign. And Kasich is going around these little luncheons, these little briefings, and still making speeches not directly against Trump, but talking against his policy platform. That's a real problem as Trump tries to message through this convention, because that's what he's running on: ripping up trade deals, building a wall, and make America great again, America first. And Kasich is out there, and he's just hitting him with a knife. And it's really problematic.
Last word, Mary Catherine.
You can bring this together with the Melania story. A politician like Kasich is looking at this campaign and watching the Melania story play out, which could have been ended early. They decided to go down the road of denying it for 2 days and then deciding to put out a statement right before we get to step on the entrance with the statement. So he's looking at that beast and going, I'm not riding that Bronco for 4 months. Like, that's not where my future lies. And that's the decision that every single Republican has had to make.
Okay. I just want to thank all of you for, I think, my favorite hour of television thus far this week in Cleveland. Thank you all so much. Still ahead, they are rolling into Cleveland under the banner Bikers for Trump. I talked to the founder who says, as I hopped on the back of his Harley yesterday, by the way, talks to me about why they're here and who they want to protect. What do you have in there?
Well, I've got a vest on. I'm not very well received by certain demographics right now for the simple reason of being so outspoken. So from what I understand, there are a lot of people that would like to do some harm to me.
CNN's coverage of the Republican National Convention is brought to you by Norfolk Southern. One line, infinite possibilities. Go to cnnpolitics.com for trending political stories and the latest news on the campaigns.
Big day?
Yeah, the usual. Move some new cars. Bought a bunch of steel. Kept the supermarket shelves stocked. Made sure everyone got their latest gadgets. What's up for the next shift?
Nothing much. Just keeping the lights on.
Nice.
Doing the big things that move an economy.
See you tomorrow, Mac.
See you tomorrow, Sam.
Just another day at Norfolk Southern.
We needed to hire someone, but it was really tough finding people that had the right experience.
I was spending half my day just reading resumes.
To hire great people, go to ZipRecruiter.com and post to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with one click. Then easily select the best candidates from one list.
I'm seeing a lot more candidates with the right experience.
We have gotten consistently better results from ZipRecruiter than anywhere else.
Over 800,000 businesses have already used ZipRecruiter. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/offer6.
I'm only in my 60s. I've got a nice long life ahead. Big plans. So when I found out Medicare doesn't pay all my medical expenses, I got a Medicare supplement insurance plan.
If you're eligible for Medicare, you may know it only covers about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. Call now and find out about an AARP Medicare supplement insurance plan insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, it could save you in out-of-pocket medical costs. Call now to request your free decision guide.
I've been with my doctor for 12 years. Now I know I'll be able to stick with them.
You'll be able to visit any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. Plus, there are no networks and virtually no referrals needed. See why millions of people have already enrolled in the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP. Don't wait. Call now.
Now everyone who uses catheters can get a better catheter with Liberator Medical's free catheter sample pack. There's the all-new compact catheters for women. Small, fits in your purse. The pre-hydrated catheter. It lubricates itself in the package. The self-lubricated catheter. Water-activated lubrication. The discreet pocket catheter. Curved to fit in your pocket to go anywhere. Call for your free catheter sample pack with free shipping.
1-800-637-0910.
Before taking his team to state for the first time,
Go get it, Marcus, go get it.
Coach Gilman used his Cash Rewards credit card from Bank of America to earn 1% cash back everywhere, every time, at places like the batting cages. 2% back at grocery stores, and now at wholesale clubs. And 3% back on gas, which helped him give his players something extra.
It's a little token.
The Cash Rewards credit card from Bank of America. More cash back for the things you buy most.
Today, more action at the GOP convention after 2 dramatic days. VP nominee Mike Pence. How will this veteran Washington insider help Trump take the White House? Plus, Trump's toughest challenger for the nomination, Ted Cruz. Special live coverage starts today at 4 Eastern on CNN.
Approaching Medicare eligibility? Don't put off checking out your Medicare options until 65. Now is a good time to get the ball rolling. Medicare only covers about 80% of Part B medical costs. The rest is up to you. That's where AARP Medicare supplement insurance plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, come in. Like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, they could help save you in out-of-pocket medical costs. Taking informed steps really makes a difference later. That's what it means to go long. Call now and request this free decision guide and explore the range of AARP Medicare supplement plans. All plans like these let you choose any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. These are the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP. Call now and request your free decision guide and start gathering the information you need to help you go long.
The Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
Back Back here live in Cleveland, I'm Brooke Baldwin. Thank you so much for being with me today. Well, as you just saw, as Donald Trump arrives here at the RNC by chopper, some of his most ardent supporters have their own ride. Bikers for Trump. It's a grassroots network of bikers from all around the country has descended upon city of Cleveland here. Thousands are patrolling the streets, not only to back their nominee, but they told me to act as a force to protect police against dissenters. Actually met the founder of this group, Chris Cox, and hopped on the back of a Harley to go for the ride.
Thought we were coming here several months ago to stand up to the establishment that would be trying to steal the nomination. After Cruz and Kasich dropped out, we thought we'd be coming here for a victory dance. We just feel like it's open season on cops, it's an assault on decency, so we're here obviously to stand with Donald Trump, but we are also here to back the badge. We want to show the support for the police department, first responders, and firemen, not only here in Cleveland, but across the country.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You all are Bikers for Trump.
Right.
You started this whole thing.
Yes.
But the priority this week is protecting law enforcement.
Yes, and it's pretty sad that civilians feel like they have to come forward to protect the police officers. And our hearts are going out to the officers in not only in Baton Rouge, but in Dallas.
Cleveland police, I mean, really police from all around the country are here. How do they feel about being protected?
It is our job to see that we stand up for one another. Our last line of defense are police officers and law enforcement. In the event that that institution crashes, we're going to have chaos and mayhem in the United States. We feel inclined to be here to protect the police if they need it.
What has the reaction from police been to you guys?
We couldn't have a better reaction. Last night as I left the convention, I was getting a lot of pat on the backs and thumbs up from cops. Yeah, they know exactly who we are and why we're here.
That is why we need Donald Trump.
Last night we saw the protester, the Code Pink. What was your interaction with her?
Well, as soon as I realized what was going on, I heard the boos. I stood up, I looked around, and I reacted almost like a German Shepherd. It was only a split second before I was heading that direction. And when I realized it was a small, petite woman, I knew that I had to be gentle in the situation. I wanted to make sure I didn't touch her or I wasn't too intimidating. So I really just wanted to keep the banner from being read, and I wanted to try to put my hand in front of her face without touching her, just so that she wouldn't be recognized around the country and patted on the back for having disrupted the RNC. We have to be very careful not to agitate the agitators, not to make things worse.
You're not here to intimidate.
No, by no means. And if we come across a police officer who's being overwhelmed and overpowered, then we'll step in. We're certainly not here to take the law into our own hands. We're working with the police department as far as allowing them to know where we are and what our intentions are. We've only got one guy here open carrying, and he is a retired police officer with a lot of experience. So we're not trying to pour any fuel on the fire. First ingredient of a biker, a patriot, is courage. That's the first thing that we roll on. And then the second ingredient that we're going to bring into effect is diplomacy.
What do you have in there?
Well, I've got a vest on. I'm not very well received by certain demographics right now for the simple reason of being so outspoken. So from what I understand, there are a lot of people that would like to do some harm to me. So at my mother's request, I'm wearing a flak jacket right now.
So you are ready to take fire to protect these guys?
Well, if it comes to that, we certainly are.
You're prepared for that?
Well, in the event that I'm collateral damage, it's only going to bring more patriots forward. We're patriots who happen to enjoy riding motorcycles.
Okay.
So we don't have any one percenters in our group. That's a totally different breed. I don't have anything bad to say about those guys, but these are mostly patriots. These are retired police officers, and the majority of the guys are veterans.
Have you met Mr. Trump?
Yes, I have. I've had dinner with Mr. Trump. He saw me in the crowd. He pulled me to the side and he told me I was doing a very good job and invited me to come into the back room and have dinner with his family and the senior staff. Donald Trump 3 nights ago tweeted out, "Thank you, Chris Cox and Bikers for Trump. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Together we'll make America great again." He got my attention when he started talking about fighting ISIS, calling it what it is, radical Islam. He got my attention when he started talking about building a wall. And we're hoping that Donald Trump can reinvent the party as Ronald Reagan reinvented the party.
Explain, though, what it's like to ride with these guys on the streets here in Cleveland. What does that feel like?
It feels good. Even having such a big red X on me. I'm surrounded by patriots. I'm here because as a civilian, we don't have a lot of opportunities to serve our country, and I see myself serving my country right now. And I'm with guys from across the nation. I didn't know any of these guys when I got here 5 days ago. I roll in alone, and within a week or so, I'm hanging out with 300, 400, 500,000 guys.
Chris Cox, thank you again so much for that. By the way, my mother is watching and was like, "You're riding on the back of a motorcycle?" Mom, they went slow and I had a helmet on, okay? Sort of slow. Let's move on to the other story dominating conservative media today. One of the industry's most powerful players is being ousted. Fox News CEO Roger Ailes is in talks to leave the network following sexual harassment allegations from on-air talent, reportedly including the primetime host Megyn Kelly. Brian Stelter is back with me, along with CNN political commentator and author of Woman in Charge, The Life of Hillary Rodham Clinton, Carl Bernstein. So, Stelter, I defer to you on this. What's your latest reporting?
As of today, Ailes is at work. He's in the building. He's running the network, but it won't be long. It'll be hours or days before he leaves. They're negotiating an exit deal. But one thing is clear. His bosses, the Murdochs, have decided he must leave amid these allegations of sexual harassment. He is denying the allegations. He's vowing to fight against Gretchen Carlson in court, but he won't be doing it as the CEO of Fox News.
This is, I mean, if we weren't sitting in Cleveland and the RNC being the dominant story, that we would be covering this, from top to bottom. I mean, this is huge news.
Roger Ailes, a nefarious genius, is the most important non-office holding political figure of the last 20 years. He has influenced America as no non-politician has. The cultural wars, he is the ultimate cultural warrior of the right. Mm-hmm. He has put this organization together that claims to be fair and balanced when it is neither, that it is an advocacy so-called news organization, and he has built an empire of both intellectual conservatism and movement conservatism that has undermined liberalism in this country in a way that no other force has.
But he has built an empire, and there are so many people in there who are extraordinarily loyal to this man. So my question is, when he goes, who follows?
Well, I'll tell you, people like Bill O'Reilly and Gunnar Van Susteren, they have clauses in their contracts that allow them to walk out the door if Ailes walks out the door. I'm told right now there's no exodus afoot, no walkout afoot, but it is possible, even if not right away, that some of those stars could leave. But the question is, what's he going to do? Is Ailes going to launch a new network? Is he going to start a rival to Fox? Does he want revenge? Or does he want to actually take it easy for the first time in his life?
First depends
or go
on
to
the
politics.
Settlement. It depends on the nature of the settlement. And he's hired Susan Estrich as a lawyer who is known as a feminist, among other things. He's fighting as hard as he can to come out of this without any admissions. And I think that's the state of play right now from what little that I can gather. He's very active and has been with Donald Trump.
Yes.
But one of the interesting things that we've seen in this campaign is that Fox has driven Trump's candidacy less than Matt Drudge. That Drudge is really the great new factor in this election in terms of media. Mm-hmm. He is Drudge. That site has been unapologetically in Trump's pocket from the beginning. And I would say that a large measure of why Donald Trump is the nominee goes to Matt Drudge in much the way that Fox has been. You use the word kingmaker. I'm not sure it goes quite far that way, but it is an influence unequaled. And, it started with right-wing.
There's no version on the left.
It started with right-wing talk radio. Mm-hmm. And Roger Ailes came out of the Nixon White House, where he was also a nefarious genius, and helped humanize Nixon in terms of Nixon always was stiff and awkward, and made him much more palatable to audiences. He couldn't do ultimately anything in Watergate to help Nixon, but he tried. And then he found a way to take the techniques of PR and mold them with politics in such a way as to create this entity such as had never existed. But a lot of it came from right-wing talk radio. And for a while, the left, I think, in the 2008 election, coalesced around the Huffington Post. For the first time, there was a kind of community, news community the left could move towards. But there's nothing equal to it.
The other question is,
nothing
without
whatsoever.
Ailes, is there still a Fox? And we don't know.
That's,
We will
that's
find
one
out.
of the biggest questions. I know you're following all this and making phone calls as much as you can. Gentlemen, thank you both so much. I appreciate it. Coming up next here on CNN, we have just learned what happened before Melania Trump's now infamous primetime speech Monday night. The staffer responsible is now speaking out.
Tired of food sticking to the pan? You try to scrape it, and then you scratch it. You may as well trash it. Not anymore. Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Gotham Steel, the newest technology in non-stick cookware made with ceramic and super strong titanium. Stronger than ever before. It's literally like cooking on air. Everything slides right off. This pan makes cooking so easy. Check out this s'mores recipe. Start with chocolate chips, add sweetened condensed milk, marshmallows, and then bake. That's right, use Gotham Steel in the oven to up to 500 degrees. And then look, it slides right out. Delicious. And it's dishwasher safe. Watch, you'd never whisk eggs in a non-stick pan, right? Well, you can with my pan. Use metal and never make a scratch ever. No oil or butter, absolutely no sticking and no scratches. It's amazing. Look, burnt cheese is a frying pan disaster. Not with my pan. Shredded Parmesan, right on the heat. And here's a secret. Shape a bowl for a unique way to serve party dips. Even fire won't damage Gotham Steel. Make steak fajita flambe with ease. No burnt stuck on mess. Just a clean pan and flawless food every time.
Get your 9.5-inch Gotham Steel pan with new titanium ceramic surface for just $19.99. But wait, call now, and through this special TV offer, you can get a second Gotham Steel Ti-Cerama pan, just pay separate fee. And we're so sure it'll never stick and never scratch that we're giving you a huge 90-day money-back guarantee. No other pan will give you that. Call now to get your Gotham Steel pan with Ti-Cerama surface and a second pan for $19.99. And be sure to ask about the special savings on the rest of our Gotham Steel collection. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-660-3705. That's 1-800-660-3705. Or order online at buygothamsteel.com. Again, that's 1-800-660-3705.
Closed captioning brought to you by Chia, freedom of choice.
Show pride and support with a well-known American icon, Chia Trump and Chia Clinton. Available at Chia.com and Amazon. Also, Chia Sanders and Chia Obama.
What an extraordinary afternoon it has been here in Cleveland. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm Brooke Baldwin here in the great state of Ohio. We are coming to you live from CNN's special coverage of the Republican National Convention. Live pictures outside of the Q, the Quicken Loans Arena, where everything is happening each and every night. Today, number 3. And minutes ago, the city witnessed we'll call it a first-of-its-kind arrival by the newly minted Republican presidential nominee, Mr. Donald Trump, emerged from the skies initially in his Trump plane, and then hopped in that helicopter emblazoned with his name. He then landed and was greeted by this mega crowd, including his own family, and also the man who's chosen to be on his ticket, Indiana Governor Mike Pence, his family as well. Here was part of that moment if you missed it.
Thank you, everybody. This is really an honor. And we're going to win Ohio, right? Come here, Mike. We're going to win Ohio. We're going to win it all. We're going to make America great again. That's what we want to do. But the last time I got accused of speaking a little bit long, so this time I'm going to speak a lot short. But I just want to introduce a man who's become a friend of mine, somebody who's going to make an unbelievable Vice President of the United States, Governor Mike Pence.
Let's hear it for the next President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. It is such an honor to join your family, to welcome you to Cleveland. We're excited to hear you address the nation tomorrow night. It's been exciting to hear from your family, more to come tonight. And I'm convinced what begins in Cleveland will end in the White House.
All All right, so you had that mega entrance minutes ago here in Cleveland, not too far from where I'm sitting, and you saw the whole family minus this woman, minus Mrs. Trump. Hours ago, the speechwriter who says, yes, indeed, she is the one responsible for the plagiarized passages in Melania Trump's speech Monday night, revealed her identity and explained how it happened and even offered to resign. So let's start there with my friend and chief political correspondent, Dana Bash. Dana, what did she say?
Well, she said just that. She gave an explanation that that her friend, and that's really what Melania Trump is, but also the person that she was working with, called her and gave her some ideas, talked about the fact that she had been very much in admiration of what Michelle Obama said in 2008, and that when this woman, Meredith MacIver, was writing things down, she jotted down the phrases, and that ended up as a large part of the speech. And in this statement, she said that she regrets doing that, she regrets not checking it, and that she did, as you said, offer to resign. And Donald Trump said no. This is a woman who has been involved in the Trump organization for quite some time. She helped Donald Trump work on some books, so this is not someone who was kind of brought in as a political figure to help Melania Trump. It's somebody who they have known and have worked with and sort of a trusted figure in Trump world. But still, I think we should note that this, I think when you hear this, when I hear this, you think, okay, that's a plausible explanation. You get it. The question is, why wasn't this the explanation that we all heard 2 days ago before this became so entrenched and ingrained in the narrative and the discussion all around the streets and inside the hall of this convention? But the good news for the Trump campaign, Brooke, is that I think this kind of puts a button on it, makes people say, okay, and now they can move on to the kinds of pictures in the story that you were just playing with the nominee now and his vice presidential pick.
Yeah, well, we'll get to the plane and the chopper in just a second with my panel here, but let me also just follow up. This is a huge news day. We also got a bit of back and forth from some aides on this conversation, between the Ohio Governor John Kasich and Mr. Trump some months ago when he was trying to determine who could be on his ticket. Tell me about that.
Well, I'll just tell you, this all goes under the headline of not everybody is unified, and especially Donald Trump and the governor of this state where we are right now, John Kasich, Trump's former competitor. What we were reporting, myself, Sarah Murray, and others, was that confirmation of a New York Times story that back in April or May, as part of a series of conversations that the Trump campaign had in trying to convince John Kasich, the Ohio governor, to be on Donald Trump's ticket, that Don Jr., Trump's son, even went so far as to call John Weaver, an aide to John Kasich, to say, well, what if he would be in charge of all domestic and foreign policy, which is, everything, kind of what the president does. And we were told by Kasich sources that the answer was kind of, are you kidding me? That Weaver went to Kasich and they kind of couldn't believe that that was the offer, but never took it seriously, or any other overture that they got. But we should tell you this in the context, and the reason I started by talking about the disagreement, the context of the fact that Kasich has not only not endorsed Trump, he is refusing to come inside this hall in the convention of his own party in his own state. And the back and forth has gotten so intense that Donald Trump just put out a tweet, and I'll read it to you. In response to this story, John Kasich was never asked by me to be VP. Just arrived in Cleveland. Will be a great 2 days. So the fact that he feels the need to respond just shows how the animus and the animosity that is going on between the two of them that is now playing out in public with the press.
Okay, so you have the Melania speechwriter news, you have the Kasich Trump news, you have Dana Bash, thank you very much. You also have, Ted Cruz speaking tonight, prime time, will he endorse? Amid everything, the chopper, the plane, there was also this remarkable moment of timing. Watch what happened when Ted Cruz, he was out here in Cleveland just a couple minutes ago speaking to a crowd, just as the Trump plane flew right on over.
Our party now has a nominee. And I don't know orchestrated. Jeff, did you email them to fly the plane right when I said that?
So that just happened. For the record, no Cruz endorsement of Trump, at least this afternoon. We will see about tonight when Ted Cruz goes before this primetime audience here at the Q. So much to get into. I have a mega panel to bring in. I hope I don't run out of breath. Thank you all so much for being with me. Republican strategist Boris Epshteyn, conservative commentator Christine O'Donnell, CNN political commentator Van Jones, CNN senior political analyst David Gergen, Harmeet Dillon, vice chairman of the California Republican Party, who delivered a Sikh prayer here at the convention, and former George W. Bush speechwriter Ned Ryan. So thank you for all being here. This is so fun. I just love this. I love being in Cleveland, and I love just everything we get to talk to today. So, Ned, let me actually just begin with you on what we just saw with Ted Cruz. I mean, obviously the big question is, does he endorse him tonight? But that was a pretty fun moment, as to borrow a line from Top Gun, that he sort of buzzed Cruz there.
Very nice timing by Trump. No, I think the thing that a lot of Republicans like Cruz and others are going through is stages of denial and grief. And I hope at some point they're going to get to acceptance.
Acceptance, yes.
And then once they get to acceptance, that they'll realize in October there's a big issue with judges and things like that will help reach some clarity on who they're going to be supporting and voting for in November. So my hope is that some of these people that are still a bit ambivalent about where Trump is at will realize it's a binary choice. It's one or the other. There are no other choices. Figure out who you want to go with, and there's a lot at stake in the November elections. And again, talking with people just this week, the judge is a big issue for them. And I think, as Trump released that list of judges, as he selected Mike Pence, I think those two things are really helping some people get off the fence going towards Trump. And I hope that coming out of this convention, they'll start working on some of the fundamentals, ground game, fundraising, really do some of those things. Trump will stay disciplined on message, and really start to give people a reason to be more confident in him moving forward.
Let me swing to our Trump surrogate on the other end, in Boris. I mean, do you think Cruz will finally endorse your guy?
First of all, the life of a Trump surrogate, I just ran from over there to over here.
Thank you so much.
So,
wipe the brow, it's all good.
Out in for the day. I'm not sweating because I'm nervous, Brooke. I'm not nervous.
I mean, I have that effect on people. Come on.
I'm not nervous.
Not
do I think Cruz will endorse? That's up to Senator Cruz. The party is absolutely unifying behind Paul Ryan speak, Governor Christie speak. Of course, there's still a concentration on a few apples who are not here, but we're not concentrating on the 14 million voters who did come out for Donald Trump, more than ever in the history of the Republican Party, more than for Reagan, more than for Eisenhower. And a lot of the establishment Republicans, Haley Barbour is here as a friend. It was great to see you, Governor Barbour. So there's a huge amount, overwhelming amount of establishment Republicans who are here. We are bringing the party together between leader and a lot of Blue Dog Democrats and independents. So I think it's a great couple of days. It'll be good 2 days going forward.
Do we think, though, on the bit that Dana was just reporting about Governor Kasich, and again, Trump folks vehemently deny, and you just even saw Mr. Trump's tweet that, no, I never officially offered, Governor Kasich to be on my ticket, although the Kasich folks, or however this leak is happening, on the day that is the Governor Pence day, that is the VP day, it is his time to talk tonight. What do you make of the timing in all of this? Van Jones?
Well, look, I mean, it's all very interesting to me. First of all, you have this interesting situation where I think that part of the people who have not come around, and you've done a great job of getting some people to come around, but those who haven't, it's not just about policy, it's about character. And you just saw a character test failed by this candidate for the past 36 hours. Why did he have his people out there defending what was obviously a little mistake? It was not that big a deal. He had some of the best people in the world, including Newt Gingrich, out there defending something that later on he has to come back and say, guess what? It was an oopsie.
You're talking about Melania's
I'm talking about the Melania Trump speech. If you're going to burn through 36 hours of your convention on an oopsie because you just can't say we made a mistake, that is failing a character test. And I think it makes it harder for people to unify.
That's character. That's a process story, right? That's process.
Hey, if your kid did that, you would have that kid in timeout.
Well, hold on. To be fair, everybody on TV spoke vehemently that Melania Trump did not do XYZ. Now we have the news that that's exactly what happened. She did not do this. It was not meant for her to do this. It was a mess up by somebody who admitted to a mistake. So let's put that to the side. Now I will tell you what's ridiculous. Somebody said Kasich said it was ridiculous that he was offered this. It's ridiculous to think that somebody who won 1 out of 50 states and barely won his own home state was offered anything. And I will tell you, I know from personal experience, that team behind Kasich is very well known for these kind of leaks, and they're only doing it for their own betterment, not for the Republican Party.
Okay, we're talking about two different things. Go ahead,
If
Christine,
I can
what's
just comment on
ladies?
the Melania Trump thing.
Please.
I think the explanation that they gave is actually kind of endearing, because you can picture this woman who has been thrust into the spotlight.
Never done anything like this in her life.
Right, and you can almost see her at home behind the computer researching First Lady speeches, and then she gives this thing that she was inspired by to
She said she was a role model. Michelle Obama was a role model.
to her speechwriter, who also has no political experience.
Let her finish.
That is the whole reason why the party needs to get behind her now. We don't have time to lick our wounds because now the guns are blazing from the Democrats. It's time for the whole party, the never-Trumpers that I once was, the establishment, to get behind him.
This is the kindest, for the record, I have ever heard you be on Donald Trump, Christine O'Donnell.
Well, that's my point. Brooke, you of all people know how I worked so hard to get the message out there that I did not like his character.
Where are you right now? Let me check your temperature.
It's time to get behind him.
There you go. There you go.
My point is, getting behind him now doesn't mean I suddenly don't have the same concerns. It means between Hillary and Trump, our party just adopted an amazing, very constitutional platform. Which party is going to get this system of checks and balances?
It's a binary choice.
Hang on. Which party is going to help get the senators elected, help restore respect to Congress, hopefully...
Down ballot, we know Paul Ryan's concerned about that. Go ahead, David Gergen.
With due respect, listen, I think we should salute Ms. McIver for coming forward. I think she deserves credit for doing that, the speechwriter, and sympathy as well. But that does not, you still have to deal with the fact that 36 hours plus have been squandered here at the convention. And that goes to two things. One is the staff mishandling this before she spoke. And clearly this team is just not well enough organized to do that.
Right.
But more importantly, was coming out afterwards. And basically, after telling reporters, you're making Richard Nixon, 1968, your role model for your convention, and then you come out and stonewall the next day, which is effectively what they did. As late as this morning, the campaign manager was saying, there's nothing here. We didn't make any mistakes.
Well,
which to your point the other day is emblematic of a bigger issue.
Yeah, Brooke, what they should have done, deal with it, move on, let the bigger story be the rest of the convention. I think, here's the deal. Donald Trump can get more out of this convention than I think Hillary can get out of her convention. This is his chance to really take a jump, move on, and, He has potential.
Let's let Harmeet speak. I would love
Well,
to
I was going to say that I was one of the party people who wasn't, Donald Trump was not my first choice, and our delegation in California is 100% unified, and that includes a lot of people who supported Cruz, Kasich, Rubio, and others. And there's a lot of sympathy for Melania. Nobody thought that she was to blame. The politically expedient thing would have been, all of us know here, throw the speechwriter under the bus, drive over her, drive back over her, reverse over her, and move on. That was not the instinct of the Trump campaign, because they're not, they don't think that way. It's a different mindset, but they need to get behind the mindset of...
Can I make a point real quick as the only person who's always been behind Donald Trump? The reason it's a 36-hour story is because the media continues to go with the story, right? So you say, well, we've wasted 36 hours. We haven't wasted it. I'd love to talk to you about Hold on, I'd love to talk to you about anything else, but we're spending, 10 minutes now talking about...
But it's the campaign that came out with this, so it's newsworthy.
But this could have been
kind of a responsibility. First of all, Boris, I know you. I'm just getting to know you pretty well. I don't think you would tolerate this in your own organization. So let's just be clear. There is a way to handle these things to let the media move on. Why didn't you handle it in a responsible way? If you want the media to move on, that ball's in your hands.
As a business leader, as somebody who owns a business, I will tell you, if this were to happen in my organization, I would not fire somebody within 10 hours.
But you wouldn't lie about it.
Can I ask you a question?
No one lied. Let me finish. No one lied. There was no lie.
They said there was no mistake.
The statement was that Melania Trump
The fact that you're still sitting here talking about this.
Wait, can I ask you a question, Vaughn?
Get it done with,
Using your
move on.
logic that they should have owned up to it right away and moved on, what's the difference between Hillary saying it was only a video and then weeks later saying what's it matter?
Because nobody died.
Nobody died from
It's Hillary
the
focus for a week.
Now everybody
Hold on, one voice. I love that everyone wants to get in. Your question was?
Well, is Hillary your role model?
Hillary
said, you just said, well, look at Hillary. You know, so Hillary should justify.
People who are
But listen, here's the
criticizing
point.
Trump, I agree with you, and this is one of the character things that I still have concerns about, but the same people who are criticizing, well, he should have come out earlier, are giving Hillary a pass for completely lying. Never owning up to it in a situation where people died. It's a double standard.
Repeatedly.
So you're saying that she should have owned up to it?
Hold on.
That's why you're sweating.
Hold on. David Van, commercial break. Go.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just what I have to do. Sorry.
Repeatedly in the past in panels like this, Hillary Clinton has been hammered over the emails and so forth. It is not a double standard. The same standard is being applied here. And the question is, why did the Trump campaign basically come out and for 36 hours said there was nothing wrong happened here?
Yeah, and
now this woman is coming forward.
It's not big of a deal, David.
I think it's not now.
I think it's not a big deal. It should have been left alone. That's what the Trump campaign tried to do. And folks, like some of us don't want to keep talking about it.
Go ahead, Van, and then we're going to continue on.
Well, first of all, what I have heard Hillary Clinton do when she makes mistakes, and she has made many mistakes and serious mistakes, she actually has apologized and said they were mistakes. The email server, for instance. What I've yet to hear from, hold on a second, what I've yet to hear from Donald Trump is ever the word "I'm sorry."
Okay.
Well, listen,
stay with me.
It's not the same.
Hold on. Time out. Moments ago. We're going to move on. I have so much more for you all. I appreciate everyone playing nicely. Moments ago, let's talk about Newt Gingrich. He actually sat down with CNN. He predicted a mega surprise tonight, an endorsement that no one sees coming. We have that for you. Also ahead, new details out of Baton Rouge about the killer who ambushed those police officers down in Louisiana. Sources reveal what he struggled with in recent years. Lots to talk about on this Wednesday. I'm Brooke Baldwin. CNN special live coverage from Cleveland and beyond continues after this.
Which you are you? Be the you who doesn't cover your moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Be the you who shows up in that dress, who hugs a friend, who is done with treatments that don't give you clearer skin. Be the you who controls your psoriasis with Stelara. Just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Stelara may lower your ability to fight infections and may increase your risk of infections and cancer. Some serious infections require hospitalization. Before treatment, get tested for tuberculosis. Before starting Stelara, tell your doctor if you think you have an infection or have symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Always tell your doctor if you have any signs of infection, have had cancer, if you develop any new skin growths, or if anyone in your house needs or has recently received a vaccine. Alert your doctor of new or worsening problems, including headaches, seizures, confusion, and vision problems. These may be signs of a rare, potentially fatal brain condition. Some serious allergic reactions can occur. Do not take Stelara if you are allergic to Stelara or any of its ingredients.
Most people using Stelara saw 75% clearer skin, and the majority were rated as cleared or minimal at 12 weeks. Be the you who talks to your dermatologist about Stelara.
Calling all go-getters, all providers, all self-motivated self-starters. Drive with Uber and put a $sign in front of your odometer, like this guy.
Technically, I'm a cook.
Sign up here, drive a few hours a day, make $300 a week.
Actually, it's a little bit more than that.
That's extra buy you stuff money, or buy them stuff money. Calling all early risers, 9-to-5ers, and night owls. With Uber, a little drive goes a long way.
Start earning this week. Go to uber.com/drive now.
I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. And you can tell them to go themselves.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes. Blood coming out of her wherever.
You got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember.
Our children and grandchildren will look back at this time, at the choices we are about to make, the goals we will strive for, the principles we will live by, and we need to make sure that they can be proud of us.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
If you have Medicare Parts A and B and want more coverage, guess what? You could apply for a Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan whenever you want. No enrollment window, no waiting to apply. That means now may be a great time to shop for an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Medicare doesn't cover everything, and like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, these help cover some of what Medicare doesn't pay. So don't wait. Call now to request your free decision guide. It could help you find the AARP Medicare supplement plan that works for you. These types of plans have no networks, so you get to choose any doctor who accepts Medicare patients. Rates are competitive, and they're the only plans of their kind endorsed by AARP. Remember, these plans let you apply all year round. So call today, because now's the perfect time to learn more. Go long.
Today, more action at the GOP convention after 2 dramatic days. VP nominee Mike Pence. How will this veteran Washington insider help Trump take the White House? Plus, Trump's toughest challenger for the nomination, Ted Cruz. Special line coverage starts today at 4 Eastern on CNN.
Scientifically proven to improve joint comfort. Effective at a cellular level. Cosamin. For joint health, it's time to start believing again.
Closed captioning brought to you by Cosamin.
And we're back live here at the Republican National Convention, Day 3. I'm Brooke Baldwin. Tonight, some huge names are set to take the stage inside the Q, the Quicken Loans Arena here in Cleveland. Among them, Senator Ted Cruz, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. You have Trump's son, Eric, and Trump's running mate, Governor Mike Pence. So let me bring in CNN special correspondent Jamie Gangel in just a second. She sat down with Newt Gingrich and talked to him about Ted Cruz and some of the convention's biggest no-shows. Here she was.
You've said about Jeb Bush, Governor John Kasich, that they are sore losers. They would say in good conscience that they don't feel they can support Donald Trump because of the controversial things he said, because they don't believe he has the judgment, the temperament to be president. Aren't they allowed to be good Republicans and
sure,
not support him?
Well, let me draw a distinction. Jeb Bush, who was a great reform governor of Florida and is a terrific person, raised more money than anybody else, ran a very traditional race, and lost. Now, the Republican Party has been so good to the Bush family, going all the way back to the 70s, that there ought to be some sense of helping the team because it's the team. It's the team that made them president. It's the team that made him governor. Kasich has a whole different problem. This is Cleveland. This is his home state. There are thousands of people coming to visit. The least he could have done is shown up the first night, never mentioned Donald Trump, and said, I just want to, on behalf of the people of Ohio, welcome you. I hope you have a wonderful convention, and walked off. That's all he had to do.
So you think they're being sore losers?
I think they're being silly.
In addition to your speech tonight, Senator Ted Cruz is speaking.
Yep.
And word is that he has not shown his speech to anyone yet. He also has not endorsed Donald Trump yet. Do you think he has to endorse him tonight?
No, I think it'd be good for him to endorse him. I think it'd be good for Ted's own career, and I think the place here will go wild if he does it. But Cruz is a very effective public speaker, and I am sure he has a message that'll be powerful, and he knows how to play an audience, and he knows this audience. This audience just overwhelmingly nominated Donald Trump. I mean, these are people, to come in here and not be for Donald Trump would be a little silly.
Prediction, you think he endorses tonight?
Probably, but Ted's an independent person. I'm to go back to your earlier point, I'm confident he'll explain why he could never vote for Hillary.
That was a nice diplomatic answer. Jamie's with me now, Jamie Gangel, along with Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Renacci. So wonderful seeing both of you. And first to you, I mean, I love the pushback with the sore losers on the Bushes and Kasich. But so I'm hearing you correctly. So the Trumps are not asking to read Cruz's speech ahead of time?
I actually think since we spoke to the speaker this morning that they may have just seen it just a few minutes ago. And there was a report that they are happy with what's in it. That does not necessarily mean that there is an endorsement, but it's pretty hard to imagine that Cruz gets this big primetime speech and doesn't endorse him. I mean, that would be pretty weird. But they have not committed yet, but we're hearing people like Newt, people like Chris Christie pushing very hard.
Having just other panelists on earlier, this is his perfect opportunity if he wants to seize the moment and then also plant the seeds of 2020. So we don't know. Congressman, to you, though, as we sit in your beautiful state of Ohio, and I'm thinking of Governor Kasich, who, as she pointed out, is a no-show, do you think that was a mistake?
Well, I think, look, we're in a team game right now, and I use that always. I use the analogy of a team game. And sometimes, even though the wide receiver wants to score a touchdown, he's got to throw a block. And I think that's the real key to get in the end zone. We need to be able to move the ball down the field as a team. And I think Governor Kasich is going to help in the end. He's got to help Senator Portman. He'll continue to work to help Senator Portman. And by doing that, he's going to throw some blocks along the way, and we're going to have this team moving down the field.
Okay, that was a diplomatic answer as well. While I appreciate the football metaphor, is it a mistake that John Kasich isn't here?
Well, I think, John was here yesterday. He's not at the convention.
At the convention.
I do believe at some point in time he has to get into the game.
Okay. You are buddies with Mike Pence. We just saw him awaiting the big, helicopter entrance. The man knows how to make an entrance. Donald Trump here over at the Sciences Center. Tell me about Mike Pence, the man, and who we'll see tonight on the big stage.
Well, Mike Pence is a great man. He came in when I first ran. I was a business guy. I didn't know much about politics. Mike actually came in, supported my election. When I think of Mike Pence, here's what I think about. I think of first family. The next thing I think is faith. And then I think of friendship. Those are three things that are really important. I think people are going to learn about Mike Pence. He really is a good man. That will be a great asset to Donald Trump.
Quickly on Trump, you met with him one-on-one a couple of months ago. We know Senator Mitch McConnell had questioned some of his knowledge with issues. Would you have similar questions?
Well, when I met with Donald Trump, it's amazing. He's a different person one-on-one. He wants to help. He said, Congressman, what can I do to help? What can I do to help the party? Those were the kind of comments he was making. So I think in the end, he wants to help. He wants to change America. He wants us to go in a different direction. 70% of America aren't happy with the direction we're going. Many people back home aren't happy with the direction we're going. That's how Donald Trump got elected. But I really do think on a one-on-one, he's a different person, and I think that's the person that's going to really put the team together to make America great again, as he says.
Okay, he gets to make the big pitch tomorrow night. Congressman Renacci, thank you so much. And Jamie Gengel, thanks for sharing the Newt interview. Coming up next, though, Montel Williams will join me about an event he headlined with Caitlyn Jenner and others in Cleveland today. The focus, how Republicans can attract and support a number of voters, make the tent much, much bigger, including those in the LGBT community.
It was easy to come out as trans. It was harder to come out as Republican. Okay?
CNN's coverage of the Republican National Convention is brought to you by SHRM, the leading global resource for human resources.
Custom event design is his expertise.
He can give you the details on cloud computing.
She's an expert in runway operations.
But these experts need HR experts to meet today's workplace challenges.
Employee benefit packages,
talent retention,
corporate telework policy.
HR professionals rely on SHRM's competency-based certifications to help them drive business success. Credentials that say,
I am ready.
Because I am.
I am
SHRM certified.
By 2050, we'll need twice the food from the same acreage to feed the world. That's going to take serious innovation. I'm John, research agronomist at Coke. We're challenging ourselves to create more advanced fertilizers that deliver nutrients to our crops more efficiently while respecting our environment, so farmers can apply less and grow more. We are Coke.
You're here to buy a car. What would help is simply being able to recognize a fair price. TrueCar has pricing data on every make and model, so all you have to do is search for the car you want. There it is. Now you're an expert in less than a minute. This is TrueCar.
For the 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's and the millions more who feel its effects, let's walk together to make an even bigger impact and end Alzheimer's for good. Find a walk near you at alz.org/walk.
Your insurance company won't replace the full value of your totaled new car. The guy says, you picked the wrong insurance plan. No, I picked the wrong insurance company.
With Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you won't have to worry about replacing your car because you'll get the full value back, including depreciation. And if you have more than one Liberty Mutual policy, you qualify for a multi-policy discount, saving you money on your car and home coverage. Call 1-844-592-2089 for a free quote today. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
See me.
See me.
Don't stare at me.
See me.
See me.
See me to know that psoriasis is just something that I have.
I'm not contagious.
See me to know that I won't stop until I find what works.
Discover Cosentyx, a different kind of medicine for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, proven to help the majority of people find clear or almost clear skin. 8 out of 10 people saw 75% skin clearance at 3 months, while the majority saw 90% clearance. Do not use if you are allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, you should be tested for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you have received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
See me.
See me. See me on my way.
Find clear skin and a clearer path forward. For a different kind of medicine, ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
We want to write the next chapter in American greatness.
The Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
Approaching Medicare eligibility? Don't put off checking out your Medicare options until 65. Now is a good time to get the ball rolling. Medicare only covers about 80% of Part B medical costs. The rest is up to you. That's where AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, come in. Like all standardized Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans, they could help save you in out-of-pocket medical costs. Taking informed steps really makes a difference later. That's what it means to go long. Call now and request this free decision guide and explore the range of AARP Medicare supplement plans. All plans like these let you choose any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. These are the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP. Call now and request your free decision guide and start gathering the information you need to help you go long.
The Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
I can't remain silent when we direct hate towards an entire race of people. Hispanics, when we direct hate towards an entire religion. Muslims. I can't stand silent when we direct hate towards the LGBT community. We're hating our own daughters, our own sons, our own wives. It blows my mind that I put on a uniform to defend this Constitution against all, and we have people right here who would actually take away the rights from as many as they could.
Montel Williams speaking to his own party at an event.
So I still like to lobby with, I want to be next to, I want to talk to, but why can't we even have a conversation? So that was what this morning was about, and I'm glad that there was a group of people there willing to listen.
It's so interesting because, you know, you've come on the show enough. We've talked politics. You were so passionate about the governor of the state. You wanted John Kasich to be the guy. You wanted him to be on the stage. And instead, he's not even in the building. You know, he is not showing up for Donald Trump. Where are you now? What are you feeling? Are you supporting Donald Trump?
What I'm trying to do is get the rest of America to stop drawing lines in the sand and going along with other people telling
Who's drawing the lines? Is Donald Trump drawing the lines? Is Hillary Clinton drawing the lines?
When you listen to rhetoric and don't study yourself, you've drawn a line. I would like to see America stop for just a second and start reading the truth. I mean, all this garbage that just took place over Melania. First off, I should say that we all owe that lady herself an apology. I'm going to say why. It's not her fault. She got thrown into this whole mess and had to read words that someone put in her hands. Who you should be going after is the party for having allowed that to happen. Yet today, I've not heard one person actually call out the people who led the party in the last 2 days and lied and lied. Let's talk about lies.
20 minutes ago, where were you with my panelists? They were making that very point.
Lie. But that's not just to disparage one side.
Okay.
Let me just go back to say, I'm going to do my research. If we find out that exactly what transpired is true, that will assuage my bad feelings, maybe. Then I'll look at the other politics. What I want to know is, what are you going to do for veterans? What I want to know is, because when you say both, how dare you when you wouldn't do it yourself? So, I'm just saying, before we commit more lives.
Details, speaking of, about the deadly ambush in Baton Rouge, what the attacker there told friends and family about his own mental health and what he says he was doing the days before the shootout. Stay here.
If you need advice for your business, LegalZoom has your back. Our trusted network of attorneys has provided guidance to over 100,000 people just like you. Visit LegalZoom today for legal help you can count on. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
You sell these things to the Pentagon? Pretty sick, huh? They called guys like us war dogs, bottom feeders who make money off of war without ever stepping foot on the battlefield. Excuse me, don't worry, I have to go first. I'm American. You seriously want to drive to Baghdad? We're gun runners. Let's go run some guns. They're getting closer. Come on, man, go!
You drove these through the Triangle of Death.
War Dogs. Rated R.
You know, Bellflower.
Oh, Brad, please.
Brad. People leave behind the strangest things when they move out.
Really?
Oh.
Look at that eye. That's a big eye. I'm looking at you. Here's what you got to do. You should list on apartments.com. It's free. It's easy. You could have shiploads of renters before you can say queequeg. Heck, your next tenant could be on there right now.
Is depression more than sadness? It's a tangle of multiple symptoms. Trintellix vortioxetine is a prescription medicine for depression. Trintellix may start to untangle or help improve the multiple symptoms of depression.
For me, Trintellix made a difference.
Tell your healthcare professional right away if your depression worsens or you have unusual changes in mood, behavior, or thoughts of suicide. Antidepressants can increase these in children, teens, and young adults. Trintellix has not been studied in children. Do not take with MAOIs. Tell your healthcare professional about your medications, including migraine, psychiatric, and depression medications to avoid a potentially life-threatening condition. Increased risk of bleeding or bruising may occur, especially if taken with NSAID pain relievers, aspirin, or blood thinners. Manic episodes or vision problems may occur in some people, may cause low sodium levels. The most common side effects are nausea, constipation, and vomiting. Trintellix did not have significant impact on weight. Ask your healthcare professional if Trintellix can make a difference for you.
Meet Michelle, mother of two. When she battled cancer, she needed support in ways she'd never imagined.
When I started chemo treatments, I decided to shave my head. My 3-year-old was here and she was scared. She said, "I don't love you anymore." And I was devastated. The next day, I called American Cancer Society, and that made a world of difference to me.
The American Cancer Society provides a free round-the-clock lifeline for information and emotional support. Donate today to help keep this essential lifeline going.
What's it like to be in good hands? Like finding new ways to be taken care of. Home, car, life insurance, obviously.
But with added touches you can't get everywhere else, like claim-free rewards?
Or safe driving bonus checks. Oh, yes. Even a claim satisfaction guarantee. In means protection plus unique extras. Only from an expert Allstate agent.
It's good to be in good hands.
It's a nice...
What I love most about Tempur-Pedic mattresses is that they contour to your body. It keeps us comfortable and asleep at night. Can I take a nap now?
Change your sleep. Change your life. Change to Tempur-Pedic.
Bigger is better. All new Farm Heroes Super Saga. Download now.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-888-909-4332.
People ask me all the time, George, what do I do with my idea for a new product?
I tell them, call my friends at InventHelp.
Call for free information.
We are back here live in Cleveland, but we have to talk about what's happened in Louisiana. The motive remains unclear as far as why a veteran Marine sergeant opened fire on 6 Baton Rouge police officers, killing 3 of them. A source tells CNN that the gunman told family and friends that he suffered from PTSD. The source also says the 29-year-old shooter had just filled a prescription just weeks ago for an anti-anxiety drug and had prescriptions for Valium and also a sleep aid. CNN has not been able to confirm he was originally diagnosed, though, with that condition. Meantime, new video from the deadly ambush is shedding light on just this absolutely atrocious event here. This is cell phone video. This is obtained by Inside Edition, and it shows this frantic scene unfolding around these police officers. A driver trapped inside his car recorded, you can hear those gunshots, recorded the shootout. CNN's Brian Todd is live in Baton Rouge with new details about the gunman's movements in the days leading up to the shootout there. Brian, what do you know?
Brooke, new information this afternoon from the Louisiana State Police about the shooter's movements. This is from Colonel Mike Edmondson. He is the superintendent of the Louisiana State Police. They're leading this investigation. Edmondson telling CNN this afternoon that the shooter, Gavin Long, was spending a lot of time riding around this general area in the days leading up to the shooting. Along this corridor on Airline Highway, he was riding around. We know this is the scene of the shooting. And we know that he was riding in an area about 11 miles from here. Now, Superintendent Edmondson has told us that they're interviewing people and everyone who might have come in contact with the shooter, even if it was just in passing. Edmondson says that the shooter stayed in several locations over the course of several days while he was in this area. They are starting to try to put together some of those pieces, Brooke. How many days was he here? Who he interacted with? And where did he stay? Several locations is what we're told. There is a new video that CNN has pulled from the shooter's Twitter feed of him in a car riding around with another man, kind of narrating this video the entire time. He's talking to the young man who identifies himself only as a local rapper. They're driving around. The video lasts about 10 minutes. In the video, the shooter appears to be narrating the entire time and lecturing to the young man about just basically giving him life advice, telling him to develop multiple sets of skills for his professional life, telling him essentially that if he develops professional relationships, not to trust people of other races. That's some new information from this video that we pulled from the shooter's Twitter feed, Brooke, but we're putting together some pieces about where he might have been moving around in the days and weeks leading up to the shooting. We're told he stayed in several places over the course of several days here, Brooke.
I know those family members want to know why. Brian Todd, thank you so much in Baton Rouge. Next, back here in Cleveland, back to politics we go. Republicans uniting in their, shall we call it, hatred, vitriol toward Hillary Clinton. Her name mentioned more times on the convention stage here in Cleveland than that of Donald Trump. We'll get live reaction from the Clinton campaign. Also ahead, new reports that Secretary Clinton has narrowed her list of leading vice presidential contenders to 2. Who are these guys? We'll talk about it coming up.
Calling all go-getters, all providers. Drive with Uber and make more than $300 a week by driving a few hours a day. Calling all 9-to-5ers and night owls. With Uber, a little drive goes a long way.
Start earning this week. Go to uber.com/drive now.
I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. And you can tell them to go themselves. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
You gotta see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember.
Our children and grandchildren will look back at this time, at the choices we are about to make, the goals we will strive for, the principles we will live by, and we need to make sure that they can be proud of us.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
When a moment turns romantic, why pause to take a pill? Or stop to find a bathroom?
Cialis for daily use is approved to treat both erectile dysfunction and the urinary symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently, day or night. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrate. Tempest for pulmonary hypertension, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any symptoms of an allergic reaction, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis and a $200 savings card.
The following memories are brought to you by Prevagen. Your memories make you who you are, and now your ability to recall short-term details could actually improve with age. The breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain, allowing you to stay as sharp as possible, because you've got a lot of great memories to make. Powered by an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish, Prevagen is clinically shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, the name to remember.
Next, more action at the GOP convention after 2 dramatic days. VP nominee Mike Pence. How will this veteran Washington insider help Trump take the White House? Plus, Trump's toughest challenger for the nomination, Ted Cruz. Special live coverage starts next on CNN.
My name is Kirk Bloodsworth. I'm the first person freed from death row by DNA testing. When they slammed that 300-pound door shut, my life was over. If it could happen to an honorably discharged Marine with no criminal record or criminal history, it can happen to anybody in America. We could execute an innocent person. You can free a man from prison, but you cannot free him from the grave. You cannot unexecute someone.
Attention blood thinner users. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-898-1341. Again, that's 1-800-898-1341.
Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
I know we're in Cleveland, but we need to talk about Hillary Clinton. Philadelphia is just around the corner, as is her choice for her running mate. Democrats familiar with the search say she will make an announcement and a message to supporters and then stump with her VP choice either Friday or Saturday in Florida. So potential contenders include Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia and Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack as emerging frontrunners, but sources say Secretary Clinton could still surprise us. Let me bring in Christina Shockey, Deputy Communications Director for Hillary for America and former Special Assistant to President Obama. So welcome to Cleveland.
Hi, thank you.
Nice to see you.
It's such a pleasure to be here.
I know we'll all be in Philadelphia next week, but thinking about her VP choices and whether it's a Friday or Saturday, talk to me a little bit about Kaine versus Vilsack.
Well, she hasn't actually made her selection yet.
I know.
Hillary, there's been lots and lots of speculation about finalists, but she's still looking at a lot of candidates. We're really lucky as Democrats because we have such a deep bench of talented, strong candidates. So she's looking at a lot of candidates and she's taking it very seriously.
What's interesting, though, is the New York Times reporting saying that she's looking at somebody with national security experience as, sort of numero uno priority. And when you look at her, talk about, experience in former Secretary of State, and you look at who she's up against, who is this mega successful businessman. When did she arrive at the point where that is what she's really looking for?
Well, actually, there's been lots of speculation about what she's looking for, but she herself, and she's the person making the decision, and those closest to her haven't said that. So there's been lots of speculation. I think we know she is the most qualified person ever to run for President of the United States. You even heard President Obama say that. She's very strong in that area, and as I said, as Democrats, we have a lot of strong candidates, so she's picking among very strong choices.
I know that her name has been uttered apparently more than that of Donald Trump this week, and I know you all will have your turn to, talk about Donald Trump as, his supporters have talked about, your nominee. But how do you respond to the chants last night, lock her up?
Well, you know, I think I just have to say, as a voter, it's just so disappointing to see that the Republicans really have nothing to offer. I mean, we've seen all this week where last night the theme was the economy.
Right.
We didn't hear a single speaker talking about how they're going to create good paying jobs in this country or raise wages. They really have no plans for this. And so we're seeing them just do what they do and attack Hillary. But, you know, if I'm a voter sitting in Denver or Raleigh and watching this, I'm really not seeing what they're going to do for me and my family. I also have to say we're not seeing a lot of enthusiasm for this candidate. So we had a lot.
I beg to differ. I have very enthusiastic Trump supporters on this show, and I've heard from some of them.
No, but I'm saying from the speakers themselves. So you saw Speaker Ryan last night, I think, only say Donald Trump's name twice. We've had people go for it. They're barely mentioning him. They're really just focusing on Hillary.
I mean, you had Rudy Giuliani, you had Pat Smith, you had Marcus Luttrell, all very supportive of Mr. Trump.
But you don't hear a lot of speeches about why he'd be the right president of the United States. What they're really talking about is just trying to attack Hillary's character. And I think Americans really demand more from that for our president. And we're going to see a stark difference next week with the Democratic convention, where you're going to see a very energized, unified party. And you're going to see our speakers really enthusiastic about Hillary's candidacy and talking about why she's the right choice to be the next president of the United States.
We will see you in Philadelphia next week. Christina Shockey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
From the Hillary camp. But back here in Cleveland, of course, talking about this is Donald Trump's week. We have just learned, actually, that Senator Ted Cruz, who will be speaking in primetime, he does plan to share his convention speech with the Trump campaign sometime this afternoon. So much more on that, of course, looking ahead to this evening. Our special live coverage continues here from Cleveland just after this quick break.
Home Advisor is a very easy way to find a home contractor, and for me, it's the only way.
Home Advisor instantly connects you with top-rated pros for any type of home project.
If you need it, Home Advisor has it.
And it's completely free. Go to homeadvisor.com now.
I'm only in my 60s. I've got a nice long life ahead. Big plans. So when I found out Medicare doesn't pay all my medical expenses, I looked at my options. Then I got a Medicare supplement insurance plan.
If you're eligible for Medicare, you may know it only covers about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. Call now and find out about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like all standardized Medicare Supplement insurance plans, it helps pick up some of what Medicare doesn't pay and could save you in out-of-pocket medical costs.
To me, relationships matter. I've been with my doctor for 12 years. Now I know I'll be able to stick with him.
With these types of plans, you'll be able to visit any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. Plus, there are no networks and virtually no referrals needed. So don't wait. Call now and request this free decision guide to help you better understand Medicare and which AARP Medicare supplement plan might be best for you. There's a wide range to choose from.
We love to travel, and there's so much more to see. So we found a plan that can travel with us anywhere in the country.
Join the millions of people who have already enrolled in the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP, an organization serving the needs of people 50 and over for generations. Remember, all Medicare supplement insurance plans help cover what Medicare doesn't pay and could save you in out-of-pocket medical costs. Call now to request your free decision guide and learn more about the kinds of plans that will be here for you now and down the road.
I have a lifetime of experience, so I know how important that is.
For the 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's and the millions more who feel its effects, let's walk together to make an even bigger impact and end Alzheimer's for good. Find a walk near you at alz.org/walk.
We want to write the next chapter in American greatness. We stand together, we will rise together.
4 big nights.
I am so proud to endorse Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States.
Unmatched access.
You will always have a seat at the table when I am in the White House.
The Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all?
Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
New Day, the most news in the morning. Tomorrow at 5 Eastern on CNN.
Live from beautiful downtown Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome to The Lead. We are at the Republican National Convention. I'm Jake Tapper. It is Make America One Again night here at the convention, a call for unity and for coming together. Instead of wedding bells, we heard the whir of helicopter blades earlier. Republican nominee Donald Trump arriving here in Cleveland just minutes ago. He's getting ready to walk down the proverbial aisle and officially join his running mate, Indiana Governor Mike Pence, in political matrimony. Not that this convention has been without blemish. As of a few hours ago, the Trump campaign is no longer denying the glaringly obvious fact that it had previously denied that parts of aspiring First Lady Melania Trump's speech were plagiarized from Michelle Obama's 2008 speech. The campaign now saying that a Trump Organization staffer, Meredith McIver, is responsible. Reality acknowledged. Mystery solved. Another mystery today. What will Senator Ted Cruz say tonight? Will Cruz endorse Trump from the stage, as the Trump campaign and Republican Party are strongly urging him to do, or will Cruz balk at backing a man who attacked his wife and falsely suggested his father had a hand in the Kennedy assassination? We shall see. I want to bring in CNN's Sarah Murray down on the convention floor. Sarah, let's start with the spotlight back on Melania Trump's speech. Trump Organization staffer said she is the one who plagiarized the passage from Michelle Obama, albeit inadvertently. Her name is MacGyver, as has happened before. MacGyver able to solve the crisis with just a few household items, in this case a laptop and a confession.
I see what you did there, Jake.
Thank you.
That is right. She came out today, and she's a speechwriter for the Trump Organization, and said, look, I'm the one who helped Melania. I take full responsibility. She said Melania actually admires Michelle Obama, and so looked back at those speeches. But this woman, Meredith McIver, says the blame rests with her. The real question is why it took the Trump campaign 3 days to clean up this mess.
Donald Trump touching down once again in Cleveland.
The next President of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump!
As the fallout from Melania Trump's speech now stretches into day 3 of Trump's convention. Today, Meredith McIver, a writer for the Trump Organization, is taking the blame for the lines from Michelle Obama's 2008 convention speech that ended up in Melania's remarks.
That you work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond.
McIver issuing this statement. Over the phone, she read me some passages from Michelle Obama's speech as examples. I wrote them down and later included some of the phrasing in the draft that ultimately became the final speech. I did not check Mrs. Obama's speeches. This was my mistake, and I feel terrible for the chaos I have caused Melania and the Trumps, as well as to Mrs. Obama. No harm was meant. McIver said she offered her resignation, but the Trumps would not accept because people make innocent mistakes. Her statement in contrast with repeated denials from the Trump campaign chairman, who insisted for days the lines did not come from Michelle Obama's speech.
I have to talk about what is true. Did a portion of the language of that speech come from Michelle Obama's speech, yes or no?
As far as we're concerned, there are similar words that were used. We've said that, but the feelings of those words and the commonality of those words do not create a situation which we feel we have to agree with you.
As for Trump, he says he welcomes the attention, tweeting, Good news is Melania's speech got more publicity than any in the history of politics, especially if you believe that all press is good press. With the explanation now public, the Trump campaign hopes to turn the focus to tonight's program, which includes speeches from Eric Trump and Donald Trump's newly minted running mate, Mike Pence. Pence's speech coming as CNN learns the Trump campaign extended another unusual VP offer. Sources close to John Kasich saying at one point Donald Trump called a Kasich advisor to see if Kasich would serve as VP in charge of domestic and foreign policy, an offer Kasich rebuffed. Also on tap tonight, a number of Trump's former rivals.
Unity. I want to see unity, and the way to see unity is for us to unite behind shared principles, us to unite in defense of liberty.
The one generating the most buzz, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, and the lingering question of whether he'll finally endorse Donald Trump. Now, of course, we're going to hear from some of Trump's other former rivals tonight. Scott Walker is going to be giving a speech here, and Marco Rubio is going to be joining via video message. But while both of those former presidential candidates have said that they will support the Republican nominee, we have not heard that yet from Ted Cruz. Back to you, Jake.
Will he or won't he? Sarah Murray, thank you so much. Trump's former rival, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, as you just heard Sarah cover, will take center stage this evening, and CNN's chief political correspondent, Dana Bash, is with me. Now, Dana, I hate to bring up uncomfortable things, but before he dropped out of the race, Senator Cruz called Mr. Trump a pathological liar, utterly amoral, a narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen, and a serial philanderer. Will he endorse Trump?
Well, when you put it like that, Jake, look, it's something that he has been grappling with, the answer to that question. I was told yesterday, and Sunlen Serfati, who has been doing reporting on this as well, she and I are both told as of this moment, the plan is not to give Donald Trump a full-throated endorsement. Maybe not so much because of the personal attacks and the warfare, the rhetorical warfare between the two at the end of their campaign, but more about the core of the conservative message and the conservative base that Ted Cruz is trying to maintain for himself and his personal movement and his political future. So what we are going to look for is what kind of phrasing Ted Cruz uses in general. There are various levels of endorsement or support, and we've heard that, Jake, you know this, kind of along the way as people have sort of fallen in line here and there, people who never thought they would support Donald Trump. We heard Ted Cruz today speaking to some supporters outside the convention hall, talking about the fact that perhaps it's time that there is a nominee, perhaps it's time to get around the nominee, support the nominee. We'll see what kind of phrasing he uses, but you can be sure there is a lot of pressure from party people who want him to sort of get beyond it and move forward. But today also there was a moment at his rally where somebody came up to him, a hardcore supporter, Jake, and said, please do not do this. Do not endorse Donald Trump. So that's the push and pull that he's feeling as he prepares to give this speech here tonight. And before I toss back to you, I should tell you, Sunlen Serfati is reporting that the two men, Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, spoke by phone yesterday.
All right, Dana Bash, thank you so much. And obviously you hear behind us the sound check. They are rehearsing the national anthem here. Our normal impulses, of course, me and Senator Tom Cotton, who's sitting behind, right next to me, would be to stand up and put our hands on our hearts, and you'll forgive us for not doing so right now. That would make horrible television for you. But as I mentioned, joining us right now is the Republican senator from Arkansas, Afghanistan and Iraq veteran, Tom Cotton. Senator, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. First, very quick question, yes or no, should Senator Ted Cruz, in your view, offer a full-throated endorsement of Donald Trump this evening?
Well, Jake, that's up to Ted tonight. I assume Ted and Donald have been talking about this. I hope coming out of this convention, all of Donald's former adversaries in the primary can be behind the Republican ticket, and hope Donald can act in a magnanimous way towards all of the folks that he defeated. That's the way we have to work to unify the party and then to move forward and appeal to not just Republicans, but the independents and moderates and Democrats that we need to win the election.
Is it enough, do you think, if Ted Cruz comes out and says nice things about the Republican Party, nasty things about Hillary Clinton, suggests that he will vote for Donald Trump, but doesn't actually, like, firmly, fully get behind him?
I'll let Ted speak for himself tonight.
You're such a diplomat. Let me ask you, in your speech Monday night, it has been pointed out by observers that you only mentioned Donald Trump once, and you said it this way: in a Trump-Pence administration and with a Republican Congress, help is on the way, an echo of Vice President Cheney, I believe, promising the military help would be on the way. Obviously, you support Donald Trump. Am I incorrect in saying you don't seem really hugely enthusiastic about it?
Well, on Monday, they'd asked me to speak a little bit about my service, and I want to talk about my family's history of service, because we're representative of a lot of families, and our troops and their families have been ill-served under the Obama administration, just like they were the last time that Clinton was in the White House. And I've spoken with Donald Trump about this. He understands the dramatic budget cuts our military has faced, and I do believe that in the Trump-Pence administration with the Republican Congress, we would see a significant increase in defense spending, hopefully in the first 100 days next year. We wouldn't see that with Hillary Clinton, I'm confident.
Okay. I didn't hear you push back on my analysis, so I will move on. I do want to play for you something. This is some sound that we recently got. It was flagged by Andrew Kaczynski of BuzzFeed. This is Al Baldessaro. He is a Trump campaign advisor, New Hampshire state representative, also a delegate from New Hampshire. This is him on the Jeff Kuhner show. If we could roll that sound.
She is a disgrace for the lies that she told those mothers about their children that got killed over there in Benghazi. She dropped the ball on over 400 emails requesting backup security. Something's wrong there. I wish they'd made the documents public on why Anderson was there, Ambassador Anderson. You know, because in my mind, I want to think that were they moving guns? Were they doing something there? How did they know he was even there? This whole thing disgusts me. Hillary Clinton should be put in the firing line and shot for treason.
Obviously, he was referring to Ambassador Chris Stevens. Put in the firing line and shot for treason?
No, that's not in keeping with the best traditions of American politics. We have opponents, we have adversaries, we don't have enemies in American politics, though. So I can't agree with that kind of rhetoric. Now, I will say that there are genuine and serious concerns about what Hillary Clinton did before the Benghazi attacks, during them, and after them. I think her extremely careless handling of classified information, to use FBI Director Jim Comey's term, disqualifies her from being president. But I think the way to handle that is to let the American people make the choice and render their verdict this November.
Do you condemn that rhetoric?
That kind of rhetoric has no place in our politics.
Many prominent members of your party, Mitt Romney, John McCain, George Bush, other George Bush, are not here. Do you worry at all that represents something beyond just the elites are not here, but it represents something about Republicans who might have concerns about your nominee?
Well, there clearly are some Republicans, as we started out talking earlier about Ted Cruz, who still have some misgivings about Donald Trump. I hope that they hear this week and can hear from Donald Trump and his campaign personally enough to satisfy them that Donald Trump will be a better president than Hillary Clinton, because that's the choice we face. I also hope that Donald Trump and his campaign can deal with them in a magnanimous fashion, since he won the primary, and now he needs their support to win this fall. And in the end, when you're the candidate, it's your responsibility to bring people behind you. It's not their responsibility to get behind you.
If wishes were horses. Senator Tom Cotton, thanks so much, and congratulations on the Christmas baby that you announced. Best wishes with that, with the little boy coming your way. Sources have told CNN that Donald Trump tried to get out of picking Mike Pence as his VP, or at least questioned whether he could. Now, a new stunning report says that the Trump campaign, through Donald Trump Jr., may have explored the idea of offering the job to someone else, and was basically offering that this guy could run things. That story next.
The Lead, brought to you by the Bud Light Party. Because no matter where you stand on the issues, we all sit on bar stools.
The Bud Light Party believes in change. That's why Bud Light has a new look. And we want to share it with everyone. Jackpot! Still the same refreshing Bud Light with a new look.
At Farmers, we've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything. even a UFH-2O.
That's not good.
That's not good.
That's really not good.
It happened August 14th, 2008, and we covered it. Talk to farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
I'm really into this car, but how do I know if I'm getting a good deal? I tell TrueCar my zip and which car I want, and TrueCar shows the range of people in my area actually paid for the same car, so I know if I'm getting a great price. This is how car buying is meant to be. This is TrueCar.
You sell these things to the Pentagon? Pretty sick, huh? They called guys like us war dogs, bottom feeders who make money off of war without ever stepping foot on the battlefield. Excuse me, don't worry, I have to go first. I'm American. You seriously want to Baghdad? We're gun runners. Let's go run some guns. They're getting closer. Come on, man, go!
You drove these through the Triangle of Death.
War Dogs. Rated R.
If you have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, talking to your doctor about your medication, this is Humira. This is Humira help pain and protect my joints from further damage. This is Humira helping me go further. Humira works for many adults. It targets and helps to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms. Doctors have been prescribing Humira for 13 years.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have had blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain infections are common, and if you've had TB. Hepatitis B are prone to or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ready for a new chapter? Talk to your rheumatologist. This is Humira at work.
In the summertime, when the weather looks fine, you can stretch right up into the sky. When it's vacation time, you got MSC Cruises. Relax, you're gonna have a good time.
Book a balcony stateroom on MSC Cruises from only $598 per person for a 7-night Caribbean cruise. Journey to one tropical island paradise after another from only $598. Full value. Call your travel agent or visit msccruises.com.
Hi, I'm Michelle Klein. I ended up picking Weebly to build my website because that's how people shop these days. Weebly is easy to use, super intuitive, fun actually. A huge part of my business is the e-commerce. People from all over the world have bought products from me, so that's great, being the small company that I am. What made me want to start this business is my love for design, so for me it's a tool to use. I like the idea of being my own boss.
Go to Weebly.com today and make your dream big.
We want to write the next chapter in American greatness.
The Democratic National Convention. Live coverage starts Monday at 4 on CNN.
Welcome back to The Lead and to the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. Let's go outside the convention hall where CNN's Sarah Seidner is covering some protests there that seem to be making some news. Sarah, what exactly is happening?
There are protests being made right now. I'm going to have our photographer Jerry give you a kind of a look up and over police. Police have come in very, very, very quickly. This is how they've been working it the whole time, using their bikes to push the crowd back away from each other. There was a group called the Revolutionary. They came in to burn a flag, and as the flag was being burned, there was a lot of tussling going on. He was they have taken away at least 2 people that I've seen, arrested them. Things have gotten much quieter in the last few seconds. More and more police are coming in on bikes. We also have police on horseback who are here. There are police from around the country, as you know, Jake, and they have all come to this area right outside the CNN Grill, just in sort of the area area where everybody's kind of been hanging out. There's a lot of folks selling T-shirts and doing all sorts of things, but there are police now in riot gear here who are making arrests. That is the scene here outside of the convention. This is the closest that protesters can really get to the convention center, and they've made sure that they've made their voices heard. You can now see they are really moving people with the horses. So you're getting a view now of the horse coming in and kind of giving a perimeter, and that's what they've been doing each and every time there's a big protest that gets a bit out of control. This is the first time that we've seen so far. We see 4 or 5 people with their hands tied with those ties that police brought in behind their back. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that are sitting on the ground. They really do have it contained this hour, but for a while there it was a lot of pushing and shoving and police coming in from all different sides of the area just to make sure that the situation was contained. Jake?
Sarah, what exactly were the protesters? You said a couple of them were taken away by police. What exactly were they doing? Were they violent? What was the problem?
A lot of pushing and shoving, and then when the flag came out, you've got 2 different groups. You've got the Westboro Baptist Church that was out here earlier on megaphones, people all sorts of names and saying everybody was sinners. And then you've got this revolutionary group who said that nothing matters but revolution, and so they've come out to burn flag, and there was clearly going to be some sort of a problem between the two, but we couldn't see what initiated the initial arrest, except for that there was a heck of a lot of pushing and shoving, and I think people were trying to get closer and closer into the perimeter, and for certain police were not going to let that happen. We've also seen the Cleveland Police Chief out here. He is out here with his officers and talking to people. He was part of helping push people back. An interesting scene nonetheless. This is probably the most rowdy that it's gotten since we've been here, and the most number of officers that we've seen since we've been here. But again, this is the closest that protesters can get to the convention center, and so the police presence from all over the place just descended on this area as soon as this started happening. There's still a lot of yelling and screaming. But really, things have gotten much more calm. There are more police officers here than there are protesters, Jake.
All right, Sarah, stay safe. We'll come back and check with you. Ryan Young is also out there. Ryan, how many protesters are we talking about? I don't hear Ryan Young.
200 people. And what we...
Oh, there we go. Go ahead, Ryan. How many
Jake,
protesters are we talking about?
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you. How many protesters are out there?
So we're talking about a protest group of about 200 people. And what we noticed was all of a sudden the state troopers started running, and then the horses followed behind them. So we knew something was going on. And when we arrived, we saw 2 men on the ground, both being put into handcuffs, and another group being kind of led away, looking like they were controlled by the police. So we're not sure if there was some bumping and pushing and shoving, but we did see 2 men being pulled away by the officers. I want to show you this group right here. These officers on horseback, they were a little further back. They were by the square, and they made a beeline over here, and we followed right behind them. And when we got here, there was just a group of people sort of like in the middle trying to... The police officers got this under control in a very fast manner. And you can see what they've done. They've sort of created this line here, a circle, and that goes all the way around with all the officers from all the different jurisdictions. See Fort Worth, Texas police. There's some California police officers here. They've set this up. They've been very polite about making sure they push back a little bit, and time establishing this perimeter. We did see those 2 men on the ground being locked up. So we're not sure what happened here. The other group who looked like they may have fallen and maybe got stomped on a little bit, they were just brought over here and somebody was giving them water a second ago. So Jake, obviously we're going to try to catch up with them, try to figure out exactly what happened with them.
All right, Ryan Young, thank you so much. Stay safe out there. We'll check back in with you as news warrants. Let's dive right in with our panel to dissect all the day's news. John King, Gloria Borger, Michael Smerconish, Henderson, Mary Ham, former Arizona governor and Donald Trump supporter Jan Brewer, Democratic strategist Donna Brazil, and senior advisor to the Trump campaign, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Thanks, one and all, for being here. We're having a lot of Arkansas residents. That's an interesting trend. Sarah, let me start with you and staffer for the Trump campaign, or the Trump organization rather, stepped up and took the blame for the play of Melania's speech. Why wasn't this just done yesterday so that it would have ended yesterday?
Well, I think that there was a process they were going through and trying to protect somebody who's been a very loyal supporter and friend of the Trump family and the Trump organization.
All right, Governor Brewer, I want to read you a tweet, Mr. Trump. Before the staffer stepped forward, Mr. Trump tweeted, "News is Melania's speech got more publicity than any in the history of politics, especially if you believe that all press is good press." Is all press good press, do you think? I don't think that.
That's what they say if they spell your name right. No, I don't. I agree that all press is not all. But he is very supportive of his wife. She did do a job that night. The world fell in love with her, and a lot more of her out on the campaign trail.
But Jim,
all right.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I want to say bless Mrs. Trump's heart. I mean, I love the speech, and I realized that night, I said it was one of the most positive speeches of that evening. But else here, and that is Mrs. Trump admires Mrs. Obama.
Yeah.
And she said that. And I think that also needs to be recognized. She admires the way that she's raising her family. She admires the way that her values. She admires Michelle's upbringing. And Michelle Obama is one of the most popular public figures in this country today at a time when people don't like anybody in public office. So I just want to also to Mrs. Trump for telling the truth that she admires Mrs. Obama.
It's a nice note, Nia Malika.
You know, I think the question is whether or not there's room in Trump's Republican Party to actually openly acknowledge that. I mean, here she was on this stage, knowingly perhaps reading she knew to be possibly Michelle Obama's words, because they're words that she told the speechwriter, but she couldn't, for whatever reason, actually acknowledge that. And I think it's because Donald Trump either is a birther or just plays one on TV. So you know, I thought that was a real ironic thing. I mean, that you have had Donald very much question Obama's Americanness, and there was his wife very much sort of celebrating Michelle Obama's Americanness.
Gloria?